Today we'll be going over the recent Destiny allegations. Essentially, a girl named Pixie, who was in his orbit for quite some time, decided to make an allegation saying that he spread pictures of her unconsensually, pictures of her, pictures and videos that are not, not safe for work stuff. And and she's also apparently filing a lawsuit against him and raising money to fund that lawsuit. She's trying to raise $25,000. The thing is, I don't think there's any making this right from Destiny. I don't think you could ever be forgiven for something like this. This is a pretty disgusting thing to do. We're going to go over a lot today, and this drama is absolutely cancer and probably going to be the biggest thing on the internet for a couple days. And it all came out while I was live, so now we're going to talk about it. Enjoy. Let's talk about Destiny, okay? Obviously, I have been associated with Destiny for a long time. I've done podcasts with him. I've done various drama episodes with him there. We've been, together in the same place in person. I went to the election stream 2 months ago now, not even that long, 3 months maybe, November. And I've gotten a lot of shit for that, and fair enough. He said a lot of crazy shit. Don't really blame people for that. But there's a new allegation being made about him we have to take a look at that has been brewing behind the scenes, brewing publicly for a long time. And obviously, with allegations, I'm always going to be the guy who waits until things are out in the open to talk about it. But obviously, I've seen the rumors, okay? I read Kiwi Farms, so obviously I've seen people talking about it. I see people in chat talking about it. I see Reddit posts. And so we're going to talk about it. We cover the Destiny leaks on my channel regarding his video of him being sucked dry. Regarding the video of him being sucked dry, we covered that. Him sucking someone dry, rather. My bad. We covered that when it came out, and that was kind of the bigger conversation around the leaks. But there was also this other conversation being had around him spreading revenge porn, allegedly, supposedly, right? This is the allegation being made. But the people involved were not really willing to talk about it too much. We talked about this with Chud as well. For example, here is Melina, Destiny's ex-wife, seemingly talking about this on her live stream.
I hope one day that I can, I don't even know if details of anything is really that important. But I'm pretty sure for the people that are aware that's happened the past month. But yeah, I hope one day that I can, I don't even know if details of anything is really that important. But I'm pretty sure for the people that are aware that's happened the past month, I think that shows a lot of what has been happening. Things that just happened, the past month, things that's been done to me without consent or anything. that has been my past 5 years. that energy, yeah.
That's what she said. But, she wasn't really getting into the meat of it, right? We have a lot of people talking about it here and saying how everybody focused on the whole Destiny sucking dick and barely anyone talks about this. If Destiny actually leaked all this himself, dude should be in jail, period. Now, to be clear, what they're talking about here is not the idea that Destiny leaked the video of him sucking a dick, but instead the idea that he was sending around nudes of other people with himself to others, and there was no consent behind that, basically. That's when it got leaked. That's why there were all the videos of him with other people, right? Because those people didn't apparently consent to it, is the allegation being made. So these rumors have been floating around behind the scenes for quite a while, and obviously I've heard of it. Obviously I've caught wind of it. Obviously I have seen the Kiwi Farms post about it, people speculating, trying to figure out what's happening. But the reason why I wasn't talking about it is because I was under the impression that the main victim of this happening did not want it to be talked about, did not want it to be discussed whatsoever. And ultimately, it is the victim's choice. It's their story, whether it wants to be talked about or not. But now the apparent victim is talking about this. So now everybody can talk about it, apparently. So here's what's happening. This girl, Pixie, is now tweeting about it. I met Pixie when I went down to Florida, to Miami, to do the election stream. She was there, and she is a friend of Destiny, or was rather a friend of Destiny and Orbiter. She would go into streams all the time. I think she was on panels way back in the day. Eventually, I believe she moved to Miami to essentially work with Destiny and be on his podcast and stuff, and she appeared on the election stream. So this is it. So I was here in this room when this was happening. Pixie is, she's right there. You can see her right there next to Abba there, right? Here we have Lonerbox. Here we have Dan Salzman. Here we have, what's this guy's name? IRI, I think is his name. After this, obviously the leaks came out of Destiny, and now she decided to post her story. She says, on November 29th, the streamer Destiny non-consensually shared my nudes, making me a victim of revenge porn. I will be suing him in federal court. Here is my story. story, and she's also fundraising for this. Now, she's linked this document. She's got her story posted here. Here's what she said. I will be suing Stephen Kenneth Bonnell too. On November 29th, I learned that the streamer Destiny had non-consensually shared pornographic content of me online. My dignity, peace of mind, and hopes for the future were stripped away in a mere matter of seconds following the betrayal of someone I previously trusted. I am at least the third person he's done this to. I hope to be the last. Now, as far as the third person, I assume one of them was probably Melina, is who she's talking about, Destiny's ex-wife. Don't know who else would be here. I will not be commenting on the experience of the other women he has hurt, as it is not my place or story to tell. I will, however, share my story in the hopes of preventing this from recurring again. I've known Destiny for around 5 to 6 years and often find myself in heavy disagreement with him. Despite this, I do my best to see the best sides of all people, trying my hardest to spread positivity and create understanding where I can. It's corny, but I want to meet people where they are and focus on which ways we can build bridges together towards a better future for everyone. Some people call this a fault of mine. They claim I am naive and I should be more careful. Those people are right. When I was 19, over 5 years ago, I was extremely sexually inexperienced and sheltered. Being terrified of leading someone on, or SA, I thought I could trust Destiny, who I had multiple long conversations with regarding consent and boundaries. So you can imagine my surprise when I discovered he distributed pornographic content of me without my consent. Yes, you read that right. Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II sent pornographic content of me to a random 19-year-old e-girl Discord kitten whom he had never met before, and then she published it to the whole world. Rest assured, despite never having met her, he at least spoke to her plenty of times on the phone. And there's a link here. What is this link? He says, there shouldn't be I'm sorry, there's literally no excuse. I've had phone combos and stuff with this person. They were fairly close to me. It's worth it to say it this way, but I'm super sorry. There's literally no excuse. I won't confirm or say anything about them. If there's any particular action or thing I can do, just let me know. So I don't know what this, I guess this DM is trying to show that he did have these combos with this person and he did leak the videos to them, I guess is what this DM is trying to show. Of course, this is what he says happened. I think it is just as likely he used her as a proxy to widely distribute this material while claiming deniability. So what she's claiming here is this is what he says happened. She thinks it's also possible that he sent this to her so that she would widely distribute the material to commit revenge on her. I do not understand why Destiny would knowingly and willingly put me in a position where I would receive nonstop sexual abuse and harassment. If we believe him, he was trying to impress a barely legal teenager using my body and my privacy. The betrayal, coupled with the hundreds of messages I received filled with sexual harassment and abuse, have left me feeling hopeless and devoid of almost all happiness. The only thing that has kept me going is the hope I can bring this man to justice and have him face legal consequences for his actions. For the past month, I've been speaking to lawyers about my situation and what to do, and have decided this is the best course of action. I will be suing him for violating U.S. Federal Code 15 U.S.C. civil action relating to disclosure of intimate images and for publication of private facts in Florida. I'll be seeking emotional and punitive damages for his actions. I've been told that a court case like this could potentially cost tens of thousands of dollars. I am terrified. I mean, this guy talks about potentially suing Hassan as if it is for fun. So what is this link? Hassan accuses Destiny of trying to fund his murder. Okay, so I guess she's showing here there's a clip of Destiny saying he might be suing Hassan. And Hassan actually has the resources to defend himself. I cannot imagine what he might try to do to me in this process. Sometimes I wonder if he does this as an intimidation tactic. I wonder if he is purposely trying to put fear into my heart when he casually talks about throwing money into a lawsuit with a multi-millionaire who can fight back, as if it's an indirect flaunt and warning over his capability of outspending me in whatever legal case I throw at him. At the request of my friends, I've been encouraged to link my Give, Send, Go regarding this case here in hopes that we can raise enough money for me to legally succeed. So here she is trying to raise money to sue Destiny. On November 29th, I learned that Destiny had non-consensually shared images of me towards others. If you wish to read more details, here's my official statement. I'll be suing him. She doesn't have the funds, so she's raised $235 so far. Her goal is $25,000. Whoever the next Joe Rogan of the left is cannot be someone that crosses sexual boundaries, violates consent, and puts women's well-being and safety at risk. It cannot be someone who puts women in positions where they will be sexually abused and harassed. It concerns me that Destiny has been interviewing potential DNC chair candidates such as Marianne Williamson or Martin O'Malley, who have no idea of what he's done. As time passes and he tries to position himself to have interviews with increasingly powerful figures such as Zelensky, I guess he didn't. Destiny shot his shot at a chance of interviewing Zelensky to one of his communications advisors. What are the possibilities? Share your thoughts. Hey, I'm not a conservative, but I've had a ton of conversations with conservatives, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and a lot of conversations about Ukraine and the current war with Russia. It will be awesome to get the chance to talk. We'll be willing to travel to Kiev to make this work. I cannot be filled with fear with what Destiny might continue to succeed, despite facing no repercussions for his actions. If the Democratic Party wishes to succeed in the future, it cannot be a party that accepts the sexual exploitation of women. It cannot be a party that allows men like Destiny to break into the mainstream, for allowing him access to such spaces will be a direct endorsement of his behavior. I've been told the payout might not be worth the harassment and attention I will receive. In an ideal world, I would do this privately, but have been told there is no realistic way the court will grant me anonymity. This means my only option is public. I've been told by a variety of people to not go public. I've been told by some people that Stephen really does feel sorry, but I'm not inclined to believe them, especially taking into consideration his actions regarding me. I mean, even if he feels sorry, it doesn't really matter if all of this is true Fuck this guy, right? Did you see about the gooner who ended it after being caught in the act in his Dodge V6 Charger? What do you mean caught in the act? He was jerking off and killed himself? Is that what you're saying? Regardless, what Destiny did is unacceptable, and I believe he will do this again unless he faces justice. To be clear, Destiny has violated federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I have received. I am terrified. Evidence log. Destiny apologizing to me for his actions. Note, had to contact him asking about the situation before he sent me this message. Destiny downplaying the pain I felt in my concerns. Destiny offering to pay some bills, I guess, to try and make me feel better. I'm sorry, is a water bill being paid going to make me feel okay about the lifelong trauma I've received? So now we get to look through the DM evidence, which I'm very glad she included because this would be extremely difficult to cover definitively if there was no DMs linked or anything like that. So we can take a look at that. There shouldn't be I'm sorry, there's literally no excuse. I've had phone combos and stuff with this person. They were fairly close to me. It's worthless to say this at this point, but I'm super sorry. There's literally no excuse. I won't say or confirm anything about them. If there's any particular action or thing I can do, just let me know. Okay, so we got this DM. Destiny downplaying the pain I felt and my concerns. She says, it's more complicated than that. I feel there's no justice for what's been done. I feel people for the rest of my life are going to try and send it to my family or workplace or wherever I go. I feel extremely violated with how so many people saw me non-consensually in a vulnerable position. I feel like people are always going to use this as proof that I slept my way into whatever achievements I garner. I feel like it's evidence that everything will be better with me gone. He says, I think the number of people who know or even keep up with it enough to go after you on this is probably almost zero. I think people hate others involved. Me, Lauren, Nick, lol, way, way, way more, and it overshadows everything a lot more. As for any achievements or anything like that, the majority of the work and stuff you've done has been completely independent for me anyway. So the only people who would say anything like that are people who would have said shit like that anyway and aren't worth my time. Yup, bro was caught yanking it in the drive-thru. Okay, that's funny. That's pretty funny, I guess. So the only people who would say anything like that are people who would have said shit like that anyway and aren't worth the time. I wish these DMs were more specific as to what the subject matter was, but it does seem to be pretty definitive, to be honest, that that's what this is about. This feels super lame, and I don't want to imply that somehow giving you money helps anything go away or fixes everything for you, but if you have any bills or owe money on anything or have any financial stuff I can help you with, I can at the very least chip in and help you with any of that. So it's at least one less thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying and getting through this. So that's essentially what this is going over. These allegations. Now, there is also a video that's been released going over this stuff from a guy named President Sunday, where he goes over the allegations involving Nicholas DiOrio. He says Nicholas DiOrio opens up about the Destiny leaks. That's what this is called. And this is called the Destiny Abuse Machine Exposed. So we're going to take a look at this. We're going to start with this, and we might get to the Nick call. Now, I do see that people are saying that there's something to check on Destiny's subreddit. Destiny will be making a post and statement within the next couple of hours. Until then, all posts will be removed and locked regarding the civil suit. Fourth time posting surely will work. Edit, do not link or talk about things here. If you even suggest something in this thread, you will be nuked. Do not let anyone talk about it involved whatsoever. So they're, I guess, sweeping a little bit here on the subreddit. Very disappointed in the situation, DGGL. Destiny needs to take some SSRIs or something. Bro, too old and horny for this shit. Pretty fucked up. W civil suit. This is really bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Not going to lie, he's going to cook up some insane justification because this seems pretty indefensible. I'm no lawyer, but take a look at this. Looks really bad. I don't see a way out of this. Civil suit on the day of Trump's inauguration. Destiny might rope. Wow. Well, it looks like at least some of them are are in doomer mode. They're recognizing that it might be happening, dude. Non in chess says, I'm making a statement too. Thank you, Non. Thank you, Chris Stassis, for the dono. Was Lonerbox distancing himself from Destiny because of this, do you think? Definitely could have had something to do with that for sure. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, we've got to watch this President Sunday video. The Destiny Abuse Machine Exposed. This is crazy. Foot soldiers already on the scene for the sweep. Pixie's officially suing Destiny. It's over. This is pinned by President Sunday. We'll take a look at this.
In this video, I'm going to tell you a story about a man. It's a story that has been replicated over and over and over in government, in show business, in business boardrooms, restaurant franchises. This time, it's about a man with a small social media empire on YouTube. A man who uses his clout and his fame to lure mentally and financially vulnerable women from his community into sexual encounters which he records and then, without their consent, shares with others. It's about how that man developed such a stranglehold over his community that no one, no matter how disgusted they are, will dare call him out for this, even when it becomes public knowledge. And most importantly, this is a story about power, and of how normal human feelings can be contorted to serve a machine to make a man immune to the effects of the abuse he has inflicted on.
I love this fucking Batman monologue intro. This is goated, dude. President Sunday coming out swinging with him sitting in the epic Abe Lincoln chair.
An astonishing number of people.
All right, we're going to put this on 1.5 2.5 times speed.
Stephen Bennell II, or as he's known online, Destiny, is a highly successful political streamer and content creator who has garnered infamy not just for public outbursts and controversial political positions, but also for an impressive number of public threats, sexual scandals, and even...
The allegations are just that he leaked someone's news to another girl and that girl spread them. I mean, you say that as if it's like nothing. That's pretty bad. I feel like that's about as bad as it could be. Like, what's even worse than that? There's like 1 or 2 allegations I could imagine that are worse than that, but I feel like this is pretty fucking bad.
outright criminal actions. This recently culminated on November 29th of 2024, when an anonymous Discord and Kiwi Farms user going by the name Solo Leaks published a large repository of private messages and graphic images and videos of Destiny with various men and women to Discord and Kiwi Farms, recordings that Destiny had shared to strangers without the consent of the people in them. It's important to note that this is not the first time that Destiny has been the subject of a large sexual scandal involving non-consensually leaked intimate material. All the way back in 2012, Destiny was caught up in a scandal involving a competitive StarCraft 2 player called Blue T, who had tweeted out a photo of his genitals. This was in retaliation for Destiny previously leaking nude images of her to his friends on Skype, wherein he laughed at how, quote-unquote, fucking hideous her face was.
I come out and say this as Blue T. I really have nothing to lose. Long story short, Destiny leaked nude pictures of me to his Skype friends. He then joked about how fucking hideous my face is compared to my beautiful body. Then joked about how I look like Shrek. I do have a big nose, I guess. Jeez. I'm pretty sure I knew this. I'm pretty sure I knew this happened a long time ago. And I guess I assumed this just wouldn't happen again, but I guess here we are.
Compared to her quote-unquote beautiful body. In 2021, Destiny had a romantic entanglement with a YouTube streamer named Anna Voir. Anna would go on to become known for insisting, often tearfully, that she was actually in a long-term romantic relationship with Destiny, which Destiny denied.
Oh, this is the BPD girl that he was fucking around with.
Painting her as crazy to his audience. It was later revealed that in fact, while Destiny was insisting to his audience that Anna was insane, he was actually sexting her the entire time, and referring to her with terms such as princess in their conversations.
That's true.
Anna threatened to post these sexually charged texts to prove that she wasn't crazy and that this was all actually taking place. And in retaliation, Destiny threatened in public to leak her nude photos if she did so.
Is that true? I didn't know that. Really?
Like if you and I had like sexted or something or traded nudes and you were like, I'm gonna leak your nudes, and I go, fuck you, if you leak my nudes, I'm gonna leak your nudes. Is that like blackmail or is that like abusive? I disagree.
So do you think that leaking sexting and leaking nudes is proportional, or do you think it's a proportional response in the way that you're reacting to them?
I think it's about proportional. If you're leaking like sexual material and shit from another person, yeah, fuck it, I think it's proportional.
The Melina in the back is crazy. Melina walking around while he's having that conversation is fucking nuts.
Destiny has also at least once admitted to accidentally sending homemade videos of him and his wife to people who his wife did not in advance approve of, in accordance with a previous agreement that he wouldn't.
Me and Melina had a conversation about, there were a few girls we talked to, was like, oh cool, like we should record videos of like us fucking shit and send it to people, like it's fun. I kind of like have like my little archive of like Queman material that I'll send to people if I want to. There were girls that I talked to.
Mr. Girl, also known as Max Carson, paved the way for all this thankless job. Well, Mr. Girl's document was retarded, but I guess in like a weird wraparound, workaround way, he was kind of right. Do you think Bolax could have got one Destiny if he shaved? I don't think he would have had to shave. I think Destiny would probably fuck anything that moves.
Past that I'd send stuff of like either me or Melina, and Melina talked to me and she was like, hey, if you're gonna send any videos to new girls that we haven't talked about, like let me know that first. Because she wanted to be careful. It was like, oh, okay, sure, that's fine. I didn't think about it at the time because I didn't think it mattered. But for the first thing, like, okay, yeah, I should have like checked 100% with Melina, but like this.
Other examples of threats and sexual misconduct made by Destiny are plentiful, but the general point is this. Destiny has a very bad history when it comes to sharing intimate material of people that he is sexually involved with without their consent, and of using the threat of their release to keep people in line. If this brings a certain Diddy to mind, you are not alone. Like with
Diddy DGG, Diddy GG. It brings a certain Diddy to mind. You are not alone. Yeah, he's kind of like Diddy, I guess. If it's all true, it seems like kind of a Diddy type thing.
Diddy. When people speak out about Destiny's misconduct, the responses vary from silence to dismissal to outright threats of exposing their intimate information and media. Unlike with Diddy, these aren't just allegations. We have the receipts. In 2023, Destiny's wife Melina publicly separated from him. In response, Destiny went on stream and indicated multiple times that he was confident that Melina would not leak any unsavory details about the relationship to the public because he too had compromising information on her and logs that would seriously harm Melina's reputation if they were revealed. Whereas, since his reputation around relationships was already so low, he would be effectively immune to the consequences.
Why do you think that she isn't going to leak or talk shit? Melina will not leak or talk shit about any of this because she knows that everything about this makes her look like a f***ing satanic demon. She knows that. She's threatened it a million times, like, I'm gonna start leaking everything. Oh, yeah, let's go. Okay, if you really want to, holy f***, because my reputation's are.
What I'm curious about is, because we had that other clip of him, was him sharing nudes unconsensually, apparently. Was that a widespread problem before Melina and him split? Was he doing that before, and now she's talking about it? Or was he doing it Like after they divorced, was he still sending around videos of them doing stuff to different people?
already zero in regards to our relationship. Everybody thinks I'm a horrible piece of shit. We want to start leaking shit. We can do it.
Fast forward to November 2024. Due to the solo leaks, it is
I may be misunderstanding, but isn't everything he said so far except the Shrek thing retaliatory? I don't think you're misunderstanding so far, but he's kind of leading. I think what President Sunday here is doing is trying to build a narrative that this is like a consistent thing, the leaking, either retaliatory or in this case that he's going to talk about, not retaliatory in the case of Pixie. Here we have me, have my thumbnail covering the Destiny situation.
it's come to light that Destiny has been sharing intimate
Anyone who morally grandstands the way Destiny loves to do is usually hiding the most disturbing behavior. Since the comments we made about the Trump rally in Pennsylvania and we had a screw loose, what do you say about the Trump rally? Are you talking about the jokes that what's his name, Tony Hinchcliffe, the guy that I thought was actually a female to male? Is that what you're talking about? Did he have criticisms of that comment? The weird thing is that, like, in some instances he won't morally grandstand. Like, I've made a lot of edgy jokes around him on stream and off stream that he didn't seem to have a problem with, but then I guess you're saying he made a comment about that, but I don't know what he said specifically about that. I definitely noticed that around any kind of sexual impropriety, Destiny is kind of refuses to make any public statement about something like that, or like public criticism. And I kind of at first assumed it was just total indifference, but I mean, based on this, it seems like it's more because, you know, he himself was doing some weird shit. But before we go any further, a message from me. If you like these videos and you want to see more of them, then become a member on the channel. For just $5 a month, you get access to the full stream VODs after they're live, so you can enjoy extra content from the live streams and watch them all in one go, rather than having to wait for them to be clipped and put on the channel. Anyways, yeah, that's about it. Back to the video.
private messages, nude images, and graphic videos with a 19-year-old OnlyFans creator called Rose, who he was sexually interested in at the time. Rose leaked these to a Discord and Kiwi Farms user called Solo Leaks, who may, for all we know, be Rose herself, who then published them to Discord and to Kiwi Farms. These leaks included intimate romantic and sexual DMs between Destiny and Lauren Southern, who Destiny had long denied being romantically involved with, while she became increasingly present in his public personal life and on stream, despite being publicly at odds with each other politically on the surface. Destiny even once described her activism as involving, quote-unquote, drowning refugees. These DMs revealed that, in fact, Destiny and Lauren Southern had been mutually declaring their love and admiration for each other, including expressing intentions to
So this is him and Lauren Southern. They seemingly had some kind of relationship behind the scenes, while publicly they were talking on streams and stuff like that. And the criticism here from President Sunday is there's like a big conflict of interest. Talk about the man who was lost at the rally. Oh, you're talking about the guy, Corey Comparator, yeah, and what he said about him on Twitter. Yeah, that's very uncouth.
separate from the respective partners to marry each other. All of this was happening behind the scenes, despite Destiny publicly claiming to his audience that he and Lauren were not involved, and while he was publicly accusing his wife Melina of lying and of being controlling privately when she would express displeasure about the relationship and when she requested that Destiny stop associating with Southern. In addition to these leaks, which not only severely compromised Lauren Southern's career and personal life, but also established that Destiny was lying when he accused his wife.
You've got the most incredible mind I've ever met, and you're going to be just fine no matter what happens. Yeah, I will, but I still want and need you. Okay, have fun on your ferry ride day. Let me distract you from your socializing. It sucks for Lauren. Because I'm pretty sure the way the Lauren stuff got out was Destiny sent DMs of him and Lauren to some random person on Discord who then leaked it. Or it got hacked and then it got leaked or something, but just completely irresponsible to share that in the first place. Gooner behavior.
Wife of being delusional and controlling about the affair. Solo Leaks also published a massive dump of revenge pornography, which featured various sexual encounters with numerous men and women that Destiny had recorded and sent to Rose as part of their flirtations, which incidentally include references to how he recorded other people not included in the dump, including a recording of a
Pretty O'Keys. Mel is out tonight with her sister doing stuff, so I went downstairs and sucked off some guy from Grindr. I recorded the audio, but it's not that great, lol, but still fun. Okay.
sexual encounter with someone who met on the gay dating app Grindr with no mention of having alerted this person to the fact that they were being recorded. Note, it is a felony to record sex acts without consent.
I think the moral of the story is don't share anything with Destiny. I mean, that's one of the morals. I think the other moral is probably that he's a very fucked up person, but I guess that's one moral.
In the state of Florida. So to recap, Destiny, who has a long history of threatening associates, friends, and family with public humiliation and exposure through releasing revenge pornography and intimate messages, actually did leak a tremendous quantity of compromising, sexually humiliating messages, images, and videos featuring other people to at least one person without their consent.
Tom, you're in an alley trap between Tofiachu and Gorlak the Destroyer. What do you do? I think I'd go with Gorlak. Gorlak is a baddie. At least he doesn't call women broads. Is that really a good saving grace here? Is that really a saving grace?
These were then publicly leaked, and the reaction has been total silence. Nothing. Historically, Destiny has always been boldly willing to threaten leaking private, intimate material, such as during his separation from his wife, or to expose nude images to retaliate against women he was slandering, like Anna, or even just for the sheer pleasure of it, as in the case of Blue Tea mentioned earlier, where the only purpose was revenge. This time, however, somehow, there is nothing. Not by Destiny, nor by anybody else. No streams, no video exposés, no tweets by any notable figures denouncing what is an obvious massive breach in ethics and consent, nothing. Which begs the question, why?
No wonder you're so anti-gooning. I mean, I don't even know if gooning is the term for this. I feel like there's another term, which is revenge, probably. At least based on what Pixie has said and based on what President Sunday is saying. Seems like revenge is what's being talked about. Now, to be clear, I have known about these allegations for quite some time. At least a couple weeks, I want to say. At least a couple weeks I've been hearing about this shit. And I was very nervous about covering it. And I think the sort of assumption from a lot of people who think that I'm sweeping for Destiny, the assumption is essentially that, oh, well, Tom and other people won't cover it because they're protecting him. The reason why I was refusing to cover this stuff, at least until this moment, is because Pixie herself, to my knowledge, didn't want it to be out there. She didn't want this to be a public conversation. She didn't want it to be anything that was being talked about. She wanted it to be handled privately. And the reason why is because of the public humiliation that she would face if it became a big story. Now she is talking about it publicly. Now, to be clear, I've had no direct communication with Pixie. This is just stuff I've heard. But that's essentially why I was not covering it. So now it's out. You know, President Sunday made his video. Now Pixie is talking about it publicly. So it's all pretty much out there. So now we can talk about it. But that's essentially what the situation was. You can see Nick DiOrio here covering it. Here he says, let's see here. My next stream I do will open with Destiny allegations now that they're public. Obviously, I'm not stoked that I was recorded without my consent, but the glass half full perspective is that now the stuff is out there in the public arena. What he's talking about here is President Sunday recorded a call he had with him talking about the allegations and did not tell Nick that he would be recording that call, basically. Here he says, I just want to be clear that any strong position I took in the call is not something I would say proudly on stream. That's precisely why I haven't and why this call was recorded without my knowledge. I got access to one single screenshot a few days after the New Year's stream, which is not the type of evidence I would deem actionable. There has since been significantly more revealed, and we'll go through that on stream this week. I'm not going to go out of my way to force or reveal someone else's story without their consent or participation. What he's talking about here is that Pixie didn't want to talk about these allegations publicly, essentially. Half of that is self-preservation. The other half is just basic morality. I fundamentally believe my job as a YouTuber is to read the Google document and give my thoughts, not to write it. Clearly, when I'm not getting the information from a source who has a certainly not when I'm getting information from a source who has a source who has a source. And this guy says, dude, you need to phrase this better. I read this and had a flashbang reaction when you said, obviously I'm not stoked it was recorded without my consent. I thought you were in the Destiny leaks, which is pretty funny. Here he says, I read the second message. I beg you. Was he recorded by Destiny without his consent? Because that seems on par with what Destiny does. And here he says, Beckett and President Sunday released videos exposing allegations of Destiny sharing explicit material without his partner's consent. Destiny's a lolcow and needs to hit Keem up to join lolcow queens. Yeah, that'd be a good career move. Probably about the only thing he could do with all this stuff. Yeah, probably about all he could really say. Screw this weenie slurping Destiny guy. Put your boots on, Tom. We're going to take the Panama Canal. Okay, dude. All right. So yeah, that's basically why I refused to cover this up until this point. It was because, you know, I don't want to out a victim's story without their consent. And I hadn't even directly talked to Pixie about it. So it's like, am I supposed to get involved in the situation where she doesn't want it to be public? I don't want to make her feel pressured into releasing it when she didn't want it to be public, seemingly, but I mean, now here we are, right? And Cope and Seeth did also make a video about it that we'll go over in a second here.
Why is everyone being so silent about something that by all rights should be a massive sex and abuse scandal about one of online politics' biggest and most controversial figures? As I said at the beginning of this video, this is not just a story about a man, but about power and how power works. And it's not a story that is new. At the center of the scandal is a concerted effort by Destiny's friends, associates, and community to conceal and hide his wrongdoings by any and all means. This includes deleting any mentions of the leaks on Discord and Reddit, obfuscating the issue by acting as if the leaks only contain private sexual behaviors and therefore aren't anyone else's business, or even offering money to the victims in exchange for their silence. Now, if one were to say that the creators around Destiny were simply remaining silent about this scandal in order to continue to capitalize on their friendship with Destiny and have access to his audience, this would be a misleading oversimplification.
Why am I here? Why am I here? What did I do? I assume he's just using me as B-roll. I didn't do shit.
Some people are doing that for sure, and some people in fact are even going out of their way to run interference to protect Destiny from the consequences of his actions.
Why am I being used as B-roll for that? As if I'm running interference. I haven't done anything. I've been aware of these allegations, have been waiting to cover it until it comes out. Why are you using B-roll of me, President Sunday, you dickhead? I didn't do shit.
But this is not a story about the nefarious deeds of evil men and women, but about power. And it turns out that in fact a lot of people are simply afraid. Afraid of what they have a moral right or a public sanction to say given the sensitive nature of these leaks, and afraid of the retribution of Destiny and those in his audience if they say something that angers him. A very large creator in YouTube commentary called Nicholas DeOrio discussed it at the
Very large. I see what you did there, buddy.
obvious sexual abuse and public coercion he was witnessing coming from Destiny and his defenders, and frustrated by the fact
I missed a dono. I studied media law. You not making certain allegations before getting proof, despite pressure, is one of the many things, many reasons I've subscribed to you. You cover things ethically and legally. Well, it's for multiple reasons. It's firstly because, there's obviously a self-preservation angle, right? I don't want to get fucking sued. I don't want to get fucking sued into oblivion if I cover something improperly and come to, conclusions about it that aren't true. But at the same time, it's also because, like in this case, Pixie didn't want it to be public, was my understanding. But, now it is public and we can go over all of it.
That people were beginning to lump him in with the others who were actively covering for Destiny, reached out to me directly to clarify why he was not being more vocal. He told me that, due to the sensitive nature of the material...
There's me again. Why am I always here? What the fuck?
Despite being very confident about Destiny's guilt, he was very conflicted about coming forward against Destiny on behalf of the victims in this story without them voluntarily coming forward first. This was for two reasons. First, Destiny has a history of persuading his victims to come to his defense during a scandal. This happened once when a creator called Mr. Girl infamously attempted to accuse Destiny of lying about his relationship with Anna Voir, and in response, Destiny produced recent DMs between himself and Anna in which he got her to say that her own quoted claims against Destiny were false. And here it is notable that the fact that these DMs were between the alleged abuser and his victim...
So this is regarding Anna Voir, basically, the BPD girl Destiny was talking to, who later defended him. So President Sunday is saying that Destiny managed to manipulate her into defending him, despite the fact that she didn't really want to, is what he's saying. I have not partaken in gooning for many a year, yet thy face hath rendered me utterly undone. Okay, thanks for the dono, Scott.
Did not seem to affect their credibility in the eyes of his audience. And second, because of Destiny's ability to use his hold over his massive audience to deal serious reputational and financial damage to people who he feels have slighted him. Nicholas refers explicitly here to the reputational damage Destiny inflicted on another commentary YouTuber called ChudLogic when he was approached by Destiny's now ex-wife Melina to give her side of the story about the Lawrence Southern affair.
So, I privately told everybody I'm completely distancing myself from this guy, waiting for this bomb to go off, but I don't want to be the one to fucking light it. But, I feel stupid. I sent Destiny, a message of support at the beginning of this,
Really?
About his dick getting leaked, not about this part of it. It's a shame that your fucking dick got leaked or whatever, which I guess is still valid.
I didn't realize how bad it was initially. I thought the big thing was the Lawrence Southern leaks. I thought, oh, he's got sex tapes. Okay, surprise.
Well, in the back of my head, I was thinking, why would all these people consent to their fucking nudes being exchanged?
Well, the answer
why
is
would
they
that
wouldn't.
even happen? They would absolutely not. They absolutely wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Yeah, you're right. Nick didn't know he was recording this. That's what Nick said on Twitter. And to be clear, Nick's position here, as far as wanting to distance, himself from Destiny, but waiting for the bomb to go off, is true. It's true. That's totally true, as far as I know. And that's basically the same position that I've had on this, which is I distanced myself from Destiny initially because his community was getting kind of crazy. And very, very shortly after that is when I started finding out about this stuff. And I was like, okay, well, now I can just never associate with this guy ever again. But as far as the stuff with Pixie, once again, Pixie seemingly didn't want it to come out. So it's am I supposed to disrespect the victim's wishes by going and talking about this stuff when she doesn't want it to be talked about? Because it's her story. Ultimately, that would do more harm than good. But now that she wants it to come out, here we are. Isn't that extremely hypocritical of President Sunday? I would say probably. Paying to keep people silenced. Him and Trump have more in common than we thought. Destiny's making America great again. Yeah.
And I haven't really been able to talk about this with anybody because I'm at it's a huge risk to even discuss it. Because this guy's got such a chokehold over his community. But I legitimately think if it ever comes up, I absolutely think that's career ending. And I don't think that could be defended. And if it can be defended by his community, it would fucking completely destroy. His reputation's in the toilet. It could be lower.
How long did you know this? It's probably been a few weeks, at the very least, that I've been hearing about it. As far as definitive proof, and when I say definitive proof, what I mean is the DMs that Pixie showed. Known about that for 2 days, maybe 3 days or something. But to be clear, for those asking, you would be right to guess that I am never doing anything regarding Destiny ever again. This guy, yeah. What do you want me to say? There it is. There it is. What happened if he paid a victim to stay quiet? Attempted is what it seems. Yes, he attempted. I don't think she accepted the money. That's why she's suing him.
Well, it could be. It's also, it's in the toilet with people who care to know.
Yeah, no, I think this is a viral everyone story. Video, community-wide story if this cover-up ever comes out.
What specifically would have to happen to trigger some kind of determinate position on this in public for you?
I'll be super candid about it. You would need to talk.
Yeah, would you have to talk publicly? Or did you just see it?
No, I think I've already seen it. I think she needs to talk publicly because if anything, if it comes down to it and Destiny convinces her privately to take that other... Look what happened with Chud Logic and Lauren Southern. He had Melina coming to him and telling him these things directly. And he was put in a position where he can either eat shit and be hated by that community.
And what they're talking about here is Melina apparently went to Chud back in the day and told him about how Destiny was with Lauren Southern and having some kind of relationship, but Chud was kind of pressured into not really talking about it and kind of blacklisted a little bit from that community. Tom is the Jay-Z to Destiny's Diddy. Don't put that on me. I don't know what Jay-Z was up to as Diddy. Okay, don't put that on me. This is pretty horrendous shit though.
And lose a huge percentage of his audience to the point where I had to pick up the other half of the slack and like help him out, right, to keep him afloat. Or he could just leak those messages and be justified immediately, and it would start like a huge conflict. And I guess he did the right thing by loyalty, but like, you know what I mean? It's like. Yeah. If you don't have the person, then it's you fighting on behalf of somebody else. And I've seen this go down so many times with content creators where if they don't have the support of the actual victim in the situation.
Right.
Are you going to miss him as a friend? The majority of the times that I ever talked to Destiny, it was in public on streams and stuff like that. There were, like, it was always a content thing. So not really. I will say it's like extremely disappointing that he apparently did this. It's extremely, extremely disappointing. But as far as like as a friend, it's not like I was like on a super personal level talking to him all the time about like how I was feeling or how he was feeling. Like it's not like we were like super, super close buddies, but I definitely got along with him very well. We definitely on an interpersonal level got along very well. And I think that came through on all the streams that I went on with him. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that definitely sucks. It is disappointing. But you know, it is what it is, dude. It is what it is. Extremely disappointing that, you know, something like this would happen. I feel like it reflects negatively on everybody who's ever collabed with him. I knew this was all happening, but I didn't come forward because I didn't ask Pixie. He missed cowardly waiting until someone else sticks their neck out. Stick to low IQ React content, bub. Thank you for the dono, Eldred Jonas. Yeah, I guess I should have just disrespected the victim's wishes. I guess that's what you think I should have done. Thanks for the dono, though.
You're fighting a losing battle from day one.
So principally, your concern is that you're going to take a pretty big financial / audience hit if you were to.
Well, I think there's a genuine risk that I'm going to get left out to dry here. Because if she doesn't say anything, or even worse, if she comes out and says it's not true, then I'm fucked.
A lot of people who would otherwise potentially be ready to support the victims of Destiny's systemic abuse of female and male colleagues are stuck between wanting to call foul on some truly reprehensible behavior and the realization that if they did, there are so many ways to spin them as the villains through Destiny's further manipulation of the victims and of his massive following.
That's not exactly what Nick said, though. He also said that part of the concern was just that the victim didn't want it to come out, so he doesn't want to be the guy to break that water before she does, because then this like Nick could easily be the bad guy in that situation, you know? Is this real? Yeah, this is real. What is he accused of? Revenge. That's what he's accused of. He's essentially accused of filming a consensual sexual interaction he had with someone and then unconsensually sending that to another person, where it then got leaked and it got spread to the entire internet. So for those asking, that's what's being talked about if you're just coming into the stream now.
Two particularly aggressive defenders of Destiny have been Not So Erudite and Dan Salzman, who are both colleagues and close members of his inner circle. Both have gone...
Dan? What did Dan do?
Out of their way either to dissuade attempts to bring up the issue of Destiny's non-consensual sharing of intimate material of other people publicly, or to directly discourage his victims from speaking out or taking legal action. A major consequence of Destiny's silence and the silence of the people around...
What the fuck did Dan do? Is there proof of that? What did Dan do? Come on. I like Dan. What did Dan do?
Around him on this issue is that all of the negative consequences for these leaks have been borne by the victims, who are still being publicly shamed and harassed as I speak.
Is the Destiny thing allegation or confirmed facts? President Sunday sounds a bit biased. What are we thinking, chat? I mean, I would say based on the DMs that Destiny sent to Pixie, it seems pretty confirmed to me. I guess I could be wrong, but based on the DMs, it seems hard for there to be any other context other than Destiny kind of consoling her sociopathically about what's happening, being like, oh, people will just move on. I mean, unless Pixie is completely lying, which I mean, I guess it's somewhat possible, but I highly fucking doubt that she was okay with these news being shared. Unless she's completely lying and was okay with it during that moment, but then is upset after the fact. I think it's, you know, probably the case. Always with the lefty dudes, restart the clock. Good one, buddy.
However, faux concern for their well-being and their wishes to remain as anonymous and private as possible.
Someone in chat, Joji Puppy, says, Destiny's very liberal with his videos and pics. I live in Miami, and as a result, I've chatted with him. I was under the impression things were shared consensually. What? You did stuff with him? Okay. Why are people who have like had sex with him in my chat or had talks with him? What's going on? Joji Puppy, the place to address his allegations is not going to be in my stream chat, just to let you know. Dan looks like Adam Sandler cosplaying Indiana Jones. True. And I liked him for it.
Possible has been used to shut down any discussion where Destiny might be held responsible for endangering them in the first place. The perverse result is that Destiny's crimes against these people are effectively being weaponized as their own defense against others who would call him out for them. For example, when one community member known as Fairy Queen questioned Not So Erudite's continued association with Destiny, given the revelation that he had been sharing people he streams with without their consent.
Fairy Queen. Hold on, I gotta catch the context for this. I'm a Fairy Queen. A story in 6 parts, part 1.
Against others who would call him out for them. For example, when one community member known as Fairy Queen questioned Not So Erudite's continued association with Destiny, given the revelation that...
Do you acknowledge Melina is claiming Steven shared these videos without her consent? Have you confronted Steven privately about this? Will you dissociate with him for sharing another woman's sex tapes without her consent? You left it a good time a while back. Yes. Destiny banging Turkey Tom fans is not on my bingo card. I mean, he's banging everyone.
That he had been sharing people he streams with without their consent, and given Not So Erudite's own avowals of being a mental health expert and a feminist, Not So Erudite...
Hey, I get you're mad at me, and that's fair. We got our differences. When I ask you to think about the people involved in the leaks, I've been talking with them, and they really want as little attention on this as possible. Your comment is kind of confirming that it's them, which they're denying and drawing more attention to it. For their sake, I really appreciate you considering removing that part of your comment. So Erudite is kind of confirming what's going on here?
claimed that she was in communication with the victims behind the scenes and that they didn't want any
Okay, so Erudite, we've at least got DMs. What did Dan do?
additional attention. And so therefore, Not So Erudite was actually doing the moral thing by not holding Destiny accountable for victimizing them in the first place and for personally continuing to profit from the reputation of Destiny by whom she was employed. When pressed on this, Not So Erudite promptly terminated the
Gotcha. I'm not an extension of Steven. You're not a feminist. Blocked. Good one.
conversation. But it turns out that Not So Erudite was telling the truth when she said she was communicating on behalf of the victims, because as it turns out, she was from very early on the primary middleman negotiating the price of their silence. Enter Pixie. Pixie is a tiny streamer who, like Destiny's wife Melina, was visually identifiable in the leaks. Pixie had been working closely with Destiny since she turned 20 years old in 2019, and in addition to appearing on stream together regularly, Destiny also got her involved in paid positions organizing for canvassing projects, like with Progressive Victory, who he partnered with in 2024, and she would accompany him multiple times to large podcast appearances such as the Whatever podcast, which he would pay for her to be flown out to. Pixie had, for a very long time, repeatedly tried to present herself as an example of a woman who could succeed as a part of Destiny's orbit, without being a member of his oft-rumored harem of women who offer him sexual favors in exchange for
I always find posts like these funny because Destiny literally had a reputation of having a harem for a while.
exposure and stream time. In light of these leaks, that image has obviously
Why would you lie about me sleeping with Destiny? Was there anything I said that gave you that idea? I'm not going to lie, I'm supremely pissed right now and just want to make a final good faith attempt at trying to figure out where your head is at before I explode. Femoid, or Lab, I believe, says, oh, I didn't mean to lie, I thought it was public. I can rewrite the record, I apologize. I thought you guys had a public relationship. She says, no, I never did anything with Steven. The most he's ever sent me was like a emoji, and I've gotten that from plenty of men and women. That's why I want to know who would tell you that so I can confront them if you got confused with someone else maybe. I think I may have. I'm really sorry. Just publicly said I was wrong. Seriously, I'm sorry. So I guess the question is, what are these DMs from? Are they from before Pixie did stuff with Destiny or from after? What's the situation here with the timeline? Was she lying and covering for him intentionally, or did she just not want it to be public? Like, what's going on here with this specific claim?
been shattered, and she has received the brunt of negative reactions to the scandal, since people who hate
Masculinized.
Destiny and hate the politics of the people in his group are eager to laugh at the hypocrisy of one of them, even if it means joining in the mass harassment of someone who is in fact
Destiny's a coomer to Jen, but never had any sympathy for the many women he bangs. They all pretend to be victims, but they had sex with him because they wanted his clout and money. All of them. The entire cast of them. Jeez. Andrew Wilson going off there.
a victim of revenge. Unfortunately, Pixie did the worst thing that someone in her position could do. Rather than seek legal recourse or make a public statement denouncing the violation of her consent and dignity that these leaks represented, she seems to have ultimately chosen to try and profit from the situation by extorting Destiny. An American citizen who finds themselves a victim of revenge pornography has several valid actions they can take. Let's go over 3. First, they can seek legal recourse. In fact, there is a federal law on the books as of 2022 that allows victims of non-consensual exchanging of explicit material to be compensated up to $150,000, and that's even if the leaks were not necessarily done maliciously, but only with reckless disregard for the consent of the victims. The victims may even have their identity concealed.
Which, to be clear, does seem to be what she's doing now. As she publicly announced, she'll be suing him in a court of law for a good amount of money. That's what she said with her statement.
Second, they may make a public statement denouncing the person who leaked the materials and violated their consent. And in fact, this can be done in conjunction with the first option I mentioned. And finally, they can choose to do nothing. They can stay silent and hope that it all blows over. And this is their right. But Pixie did not do any of these. In an exchange that I have learned has since been circulated among the entire commentary community on YouTube and virtually everyone in Destiny's circle, Not So Erudite can be seen haggling with Pixie over the amount of money that would be appropriate for Destiny to pay her to not involve the court system or to denounce him publicly.
And that is true. I had seen, I don't know about this specific DM, but I have seen some of these DMs where Erudite seemed to be having a conversation regarding this kind of stuff. So I was aware of this. And this was like the first thing I saw. And then later on, I saw the DMs from Pixie talking about it, but this is the first thing I saw. Did you end up talking to Steven? Okay, so this is Kyla. So I think this is Pixie talking to Kyla. You end up talking to Steven? Not yet. Coleman canceled, so I ended up not coming in, but we'll be there Saturday. Are you hinging a lot of my conversation with him? Other than what I mentioned, is there anything you were hoping to be brought up?
Pixie uses the implicit.
I think I'm going to decide my next course of action of what to do with myself and him based on how that conversation goes. Unless if you decide you don't want to talk to him, that's okay too. Basically, I have my plans and course of action paused and will choose something depending on if he agrees he has to make up and repent for the action and wants to work with me to find a way to do it, or if he doesn't feel that way. I don't want to talk to him myself because I feel like I tried explaining what I was feeling and he didn't really understand. I also have a little anxious voice in my brain telling me to prepare for the worst because he probably won't care or doesn't care enough to willingly try to make up for his mistakes. And that means I'll have to start thinking of more extreme and nuclear options to deal with. But I'm trying to avoid spiraling that line of thought because I'm trying to hold out hope. My girl is somewhere back to verbally abusing and Jedi mind tricking his girlfriend for YouTube views. He's so happy. Oh, sorry. Mr. Girl is somewhere back to verbally abusing and Jedi mind tricking his girlfriend for YouTube views. He's so happy. Good for Mr. Girl, I guess.
Side a scheduled note.
And just to not scare you, 100% not going to do anything to myself no matter what he says during holiday season because I don't want to traumatize my friends during a time that's supposed to be happy. So I guess this is talking about some kind of harming herself physically. And even if he responds negatively, it doesn't mean I'll auto myself. Okay, there you go. I'm trying to contemplate all different courses of actions, including going public, and then if I can't take the moment of humiliation, then myself versus my plan before or scheduling a note for after I die. I'm also still looking into lawyers, but I just want to see what he says before deciding to do any nuclear options. She says, can I share this with Steven? He communicated to me he knows he fucked up and there's no excuse at all, but doesn't know what he can do for you to make it up. I'm trying to... Dude, what the fuck? I'm trying to bridge between to help him understand what would make you feel that he understood he was wrong, should never do this again. Oh, he'll never do it again, dude. He'll never, ever, ever do it again. He'll never share revenge again, dude. He understands his mistake. He effed up real bad. He effed up real bad. Just a silly little slipping on a banana peel type thing. Or better, what can I share with him? You can share this and anything you want with him. I felt like when we talked, you really understood where I was coming from. You can hopefully explain this better than I can.
A significant sum of money, and then later switches to vague threats of public denunciation.
We missed a DM. Hold on.
Scheduled note announcing it to pressure Destiny to pay out a significant sum of money, and then later.
Gotcha. Thanks for not sugarcoating anything about where you're at. I think we talked about I think what we talked about is what you needed. Help removing the video from online, getting the guy who hacked charged, a sense that Steven understands how in the wrong he was, and a plan to prevent this from ever happening again. The thing is, I don't think there's any like making this right from Destiny. Like I don't think you could ever be forgiven for something like this. Like this is a pretty disgusting thing to do. To unconsensually send a video of you having sex with someone to another person is in and of itself fucking horrible. But the ultimate consequence of that was that it got leaked to the entire internet for everyone to see. Humiliating Pixie beyond any reproach. Ghislaine Erudite, seems that way, dude. Ukulele apology video up next. Thanks for the dono. Tom, are you taking part in the Goonacide? I feel like that's what the stream is. Is that what you feel you need? Yeah, the only problem is number 3, because even with the removal of the video and getting the guy hacked and charged, Steven has to face consequences proportional to his actions. I want this to be the most expensive mistake of his life, and I'm essentially asking him to self-punish himself in a way I don't think he will like or agree to without the law involved. I don't have a dollar amount from the top of my head. It just has to be enough that for the rest of his life, if he thinks of the word nude, he associates with it and with the amount of money he loses. Obviously, I don't want to make him destitute, but it should be large enough that he does feel upset about it and is not easily recoverable. Which, to be clear, Destiny is a multimillionaire, so it'd have to be a lot of money for him to really feel that pain. Now, I think another perspective to this is also, like, how can Destiny ever judge someone else morally for anything they've ever done with this? Like, if he unconsensually shared nudes of someone, how can you ever morally have any judgment on anyone, on any political figure for any sexual misconduct they have undergone, on any political figure for really anything they've done? Like, how can you be going out of your way to criticize other people when you yourself are, I mean, I don't see how this could be fixed. I don't see how this can like be come back from. Like, short of fucking a literal infant, I don't think that there's any kind of worse thing that could potentially happen. Tom, what's going on here, big guy? Destiny revenge situation is what's going on here.
Public denunciations and legal action. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, her friend Straighterade was colluding to advise Destiny to offer to help her financially as penance to stave off her threats of self-harm.
Straighterade? I have no idea who this person is.
A situation that would obviously be a reputational disaster.
The only justification got to be that Pixie gave consent at some earlier point with receipts. There are no other explanations. Kind of crazy situation. Yeah. If Destiny somehow has that, I guess that would kind of absolve him or something. But, I mean, I don't think that exists. Maybe it does somewhere, but, like, if that does exist, then why would Destiny have been apologizing for what happened in the DMs? Why would Erudite have been talking about how it was such a horrible thing that Destiny will never do again? But, like, if it was consensual from the start, the sharing was consensual, then why would there be DMs talking about how it never needs to happen again if Pixie was consenting in the first place? The obvious conclusion is she did not consent in the first place.
Note, Straight Rate has also explicitly said that she did not consider the situation serious enough to warrant a wellness check. As revealed in earlier DMs between Pixie and Destiny prior to this conversation with Noto Aidite, Pixie and her friend Straight Rate had used the specter of her impending suicide to alarm Destiny and
Still confused about the Dan thing. I'm still confused about what the Dan thing, like what did Dan do? I've seen no evidence of Dan doing anything bad here.
that he would be receptive to suggestions of financial compensation. Apparently, Pixie was hopeful from the beginning that she could get as much as a $1 million payout.
Oh, here's the straighter DM. If she did that, which I doubt, that would be incredibly misleading. She's wanted an incredible amount of money from the start, and I have repeatedly but generally told her that she will not get the sum she wants. There's no legal basis for getting a $1 million payout, which she repeatedly discussed with me. I mean, who fucking cares? Like, $1 million... So what? She wants $1 million? Big what? Is that the greatest concern here? The greatest concern is what happened to her. I don't know. Give her $1 million. Who gives a shit?
From Destiny, which Straight Rate had to repeatedly talk her down from. The condition of this financial compensation is...
These are messages between Kyla and Pixie. Kyla was telling Pixie that she would talk to Steve and Ira about the whole ordeal, but then said scheduling issues prevented the conversation. Yeah. You couldn't fit that into your schedule. She also says every time she's tried to ask for details via messages, he's not engaged, but I think that's a lie, obviously. For context, Pixie wanted to sue for a lot of money, but I told her that isn't realistic. And who fucking cares? So what?
Is, of course, Pixie's continued silence. This would seem to imply that Pixie's decision to not go public is not because she is afraid of the repercussions, or else she wouldn't be threatening Destiny directly with legal action or public denunciations, but because she wants to profit personally off of extorting Destiny, who also, it must be remembered, is a victim of revenge.
So... I mean, based on this, we can kind of deduce that Pixie was not okay with this video coming out, but now she's made a public statement, so that's why I'm talking about it. But based on this, we can infer that she did not want this President Sunday video to come out whatsoever. As far as, like, blaming her for trying to extort him, like, I don't know. What do you expect her to really do? Like, she gets her news leaked. Do you expect her to act, like, totally virtuous in the situation and be like, oh, well, I guess I just won't try to get any money out of him whatsoever. I'll just bring the story public immediately so that he gets shit on. It's like, okay, well, now he's being shit on, but also even more people know about the fact that her news were leaked. It will, follow her for a very long time on the internet. Like, I don't know. I don't really see any problem with her trying to extort him. Fuck it. She wants to get a little money out of it. Good for her. Like, ideally, she would come out publicly with it like she has now to hopefully bring attention to the situation and prevent potential further victims, but... like, so what? She should be a better victim. Did Steven have any giant white beds when you visited? Good one, buddy. Red Pumpin. Mr. Logic chose the wrong week to spend with his family. What a loser. Yeah, I guess he's missing out on this coverage is what you're saying.
Destiny may be the one responsible for the leaker having the images in the first place, but he shared them recklessly, not maliciously. And of course, he has endured public humiliation as well for this. Destiny's close friend and podcast co-host Dan Salzman, the CEO of Redact, had also reportedly gone behind Destiny's back to advise Pixie to make financial demands of Destiny as well as to ask her to
Nice. Kyla's being sneaky about this. Pixie contacted her and was kind of trying to use her as a liaison. I told her Kyla can't be trusted to help with that. Dan contacted Pixie a couple of weeks ago. According to what she told me, he basically said ask Steven for a reasonable amount of money and he'd probably pay it. And wanted to convince her not to take legal actions against Kiwi Farms, which she's considering. Well, taking legal actions against Kiwi Farms is basically impossible. That's a foregone conclusion. There's no point in that. As far as Dan supposedly having this conversation, I have no proof of that, so I don't know. I don't want to assume anything about Dan without further proof. So that's my situation there. But, I mean, as far as everyone else so far, like, from what I've seen, fuck Destiny. Fuck Erudite.
dissuade Destiny from taking legal action against Kiwi Farms for hosting the leaks. Pixie has since said nothing publicly. There has been no evidence of legal proceedings being pursued, and she has seemingly ceased communications with the people she was previously working with, instead posting on X about taking the LSAT in pursuit of law school. It appears as though her attempt to extort Destiny has probably paid off, albeit at the expense of every other person Destiny has victimized in the past and will victimize in the future. And so...
Alright, so that's the end of the evidence. Once again, I have no evidence against Dan, but... we have another video by Cope and Seeth going over this stuff that we have to watch. DestinyHitpiece.exe. Now, I assume some of this will be the same coverage, but it looks like there's a lot more DMs being shared here. So I would like to take a look at these. She should not be talking about it, letting it go through her lawyer. I mean, I would agree with that statement for sure, but now that President Sunday has publicized it, she feels the need to make a public statement. And also part of the public statement is she doesn't have the money to sue him. So she needs $25,000 for legal fees, which, I'll probably end up donating to. So fucked, dude. So fucked. But we're going to watch this Cope and Seeth video after. I assume there's more stuff. Cope and Seeth is generally pretty thorough with the stuff that he goes over. I think $1 million is too much. I mean, I'm not going to, criticize her for how much money she wants from this. It's not really up to me. If she asks for $1 million, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's so fucked, dude. That's so fucked. Whatever the case. Let's get back into this.
Those of you who have been following Destiny in his orbit for a while may have started to notice a rift forming.
Destiny can help you with the slandering. I'd rather not.
In late November, a leak occurred which revealed, shall we say, a lot of Destiny's personal history. There has been massive speculation about the people involved in those leaks, whether the sharing of them was consensual, and people's both public and private reactions to them. What I have for you today is a breakdown of the conversation that occurred between President Sunday and Straitheraid. This includes multiple DM leaks between the parties involved, and conversations of the general...
Okay, so what I'm gathering here is that President Sunday's information came from Straitheraid, and that's essentially where the majority of his information came from, as well as the leaks that he ended up getting.
Strategies being taken. But first, let me explain to you why I'm prepared to release these at all. When I went looking for these DMs, having heard about them on the grapevine from a couple of sources, I'll be honest, what I found was two separate individuals who had received them independently, and for one of them, they were pretty far down the chain. Now, people's level of knowledge involving these leaks is debatable. Though at this point, I will say, of all the people who aren't directly involved in these events, I probably have one of the fullest pictures. The story I want to tell you isn't really the story of Destiny. Rather, what I want to display is the machine that exists around him. Because, to be clear, that machine around him is already being exposed.
Hi everyone. So Lonabox has announced that he is quitting YouTube, and he gave a bit of an iffy answer for that. Like he said, it was in part because he was supposedly harassed and smeared by me and Hassan. But I actually found out the real reason just now, and it's that Destiny cucked him. His girlfriend cheated on him with Destiny.
And this drip feed of information is causing so much speculation from everybody that regardless of what anybody's original intentions were, it has created more of an air of mystery, speculation, and interest than was ever needed. On November the 29th, 2024, President Sunday would reach out to Straitheraid regarding the Destiny leaks and ask her to check in on Pixie.
Let's see what his full DM was. So don't know if you're following this, but someone dumped all the sex tapes Destiny leaked on Kiwi Farms. I didn't look, but people are saying Pixie is in one. Maybe check on her and make sure she's okay. Straitheraid says, oh god, we'll see what's up.
President Sunday would reach out to Straitheraid regarding the Destiny leaks and ask her to check in on Pixie. As even at that...
She says, oh god, we'll see what's up. He says this a lot. She says, I just saw, what do I do? What if she's with her family? I don't want to send her that, and then she full on panics and can't even be on her own. He says, voice call? She says, as in I should ask if she can talk? He said, no, I mean, let's talk over voice gameplay on this. She says, okay, give me a minute.
At that point, people were beginning to speculate that it was her in the images. They then begin discussing the situation and how best to move forward with informing Pixie, which leads to an hour-long call in which Sunday provides further context around the leaks themselves and other people Destiny may have been involved with. This also includes a conversation between Lav and Pixie.
Okay, we saw this, yeah. We saw a different conversation between them. Why would you lie about me sleeping with Steven? You're disgusting and you're enabling a male abuser. Have fun. I still don't understand how he abused you. And it's because you're fucking stupid. And then it looks like Lav blocked her.
Which occurred during the Mr. Girl saga, where Pixie denied sleeping with Destiny when confronted by Lav. Pixie would then go private, much to the frustration of both Sunday and Straitheraid, both of them realizing that in some ways, this was just a confirmation that it was indeed her to those who were speculating. Outside of these two, the wider rumor mill was obviously already spinning, with people reaching out to see what information or opinions other people had. There's obviously the additional factor of speculation regarding what other communities may know or be referring to when they were coming across general memes or comments. These conversations would continue for several days while they discussed the reactions from the wider community and online discourse. Picking back up on December 4th, President Sunday becomes concerned with Pixie's approach and tactics, noting that that's like every wrong decision she could make, now it's content. The concern generally being that this was only reinforcing people's opinions that she was the one in the leaks, and driving people to investigate deeper. Straitheraid would describe this as Sunday preaching to the choir. Importantly, it was around this time that Not So Erudite would reach out to Straitheraid. She asked how Pixie is doing, but then she asked if Pixie knew he took the video and if she consented to it.
Kyla was asking me for details earlier, and she asked how Pixie is doing, but then she asked if Pixie knew he took the video and if she consented to it being shared. I don't know why she would even ask that. My answer would be no on both counts, and she would not change a thing. President Sunday says two possibilities. Either she doesn't know, and she's looking for a way out to set herself apart, or she's asking on behalf of Steven to gauge whether Pixie's going to cause a problem. The third is she's just a dumb idiot and out of the loop. I doubt it's the third. I doubt it's the third, too. There's no way Kyla didn't immediately message him when all of this happened. Yeah, Kyla, Erudite has like a business with Destiny, the Bridges podcast studio thing. So, and I mean, it seems like basically from the DMs that we saw, she was basically, I don't know if you're running defense is even like, I feel like that's understating it. Running defense is not, it's like orchestrating the defense, being the defense, something like that.
Being shared. I don't know why she'd even ask me that. My answer could be no on both counts, and she would not change a thing, lol. It's quite obvious that in the opinions of both Straighter Aid and
Do you know you're embedded on Destiny's official website? What does that mean? Enforcer? Yeah, there's a term, Nick. There's a term. What do you mean I'm embedded on his official website? I wonder if chat's talking about it. DGG chat. Oh, they're all talking about it. Holy shit. We're watching you, Tom? Oh, what's up, guys? How's it going? How's it going, DGG chat? Here we are. Here we are, chat. Shalom. Good to see you, I guess. I didn't realize this was happening right now. I didn't realize this was happening, chat. But here we are. Here we are, guys. Here we are, chat, going over it. Tom, help us. What am I supposed to do for you? What the fuck am I supposed to do for you, dude? There's nothing I can do for you guys. There's literally nothing. It's all there. It's all just there. Here we are, dude. This chat is actually insane. The chat is going so fucking fast. What the fuck? They're all saying it's over for DGG. Yeah, don't come to me, by the way. I'm not your savior. I'm not your Destiny alternative, okay? It's not me. Go hang out with Vosh or something. I wish it was your nudes. Yeah, sorry. Dude, I can't even... It's so many messages. There's so many fucking messages, dude. Oh my god. Why are people saying I'm embedded on his official website? Are you saying that I am... Am I somehow on the stream? Dude, the chat is moving faster than my chat. What the fuck's going on? What is going on? Top right? Cinema mode? Is this it? What am I supposed to look at? Hold on. Am I missing something? Join DGG chat. Top right. This? Oh! Is that intentional? Why am I here? Wait, why am I... Is this intentional? Am I supposed to be here? Why am I embedded on the site? It's automatic? What the fuck? Okay, I didn't know that about this website. There you go. All right, I'm gonna get off that chat and keep looking over this shit. You guys have fun over there on your silly little website. We're gonna keep going over this.
and Sunday that Not So Erudite would be asking these things not out of concern for Pixie, but out of concern for Destiny, with a general feeling that regardless of what the answer was, Kyla's position wouldn't change a dot. Straighter Aid does also confirm that Pixie was aware of the recording at least existing, and that it had not been created without her knowledge. The conversation...
Lunderbox retweeted Pixie, is that true? He did retweet Pixie. Holy f***. One of Destiny's top guys until, I don't know, a couple days ago, retweeted it. Holy fuck, dude. I'm realizing now Destiny's probably watching this stream, so there we go.
Moves off this topic once again at this point to the wider subject of Hassan and the Twitch war that was occurring at the time. Though it would come up again around the 1st when Straighter Aid brings up Fairy Queen leaving a comment on Kyla's most recent video. Erudite seemingly had been in contact with Fairy Queen asking her to take this comment down, or at least a section of it. Though it is worth noting that Erudite is openly talking about being in contact with the victims of the leaks, and noting concern for them as the primary reason for its removal. As I'd like to do as little editorializing as possible here, I'll let it pass without much comment. Though I would like to point out at this point that the leaks themselves and the silence around them had become such a fascinating topic that even Wick TV seems to recognize that this is obviously...
Wick. I think I was on a couple panels with Wick. I remember him. Kyla deleted my comment on a YouTube video. When they say Kyla, that's in reference to Erudite. My comment criticized her decision to co-host with a known sexual abuser in the community. I followed up with 3 direct questions. Instead of addressing them, Kyla blocked me. Given that Kyla seems unbothered by Steven sharing Melina and others' nudes, I see no reason not to share her refusal to explain why she continues to co-host with him in public. I dare her, and frankly anyone from DGG, to get upset at me posting our private conversation. After silently supporting Steven firing off revenge pornography this past December, I'm curious what leg you think you'd have to stand on. After all, you don't know for sure that I didn't have consent to share, so just assume that I did. And please don't harass poor Kyla with messages asking her if she consented to having me post this. Kyla would very much prefer that we not discuss this. She wants as little attention on her Bridges co-host as possible. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. This is so fascinating. So many different careers could be destroyed today. I mean, it's basically, yeah, a lot of people that Destiny gave a career to. It's kind of like you have two sides of it. People who defended him and tried to run defense are done. People who are victims and didn't try to run defense are going to be okay long term. But yeah, what an absolute fucking disaster. I want some mail time. Thank you, Zach. I might start ignoring some of the donos that aren't relevant to the situation because I don't want to break up the coverage too much, but we're going to keep going over this.
Becoming a content item in and of itself.
Pixie called out Sunday? Where? On Twitter? Where can I see that? Nicholas Diorio. You want to send that to me over DMs? Oh, here we go. Oh, this follow-up. I didn't really take note of this. Also, if you're a leftist who has talked about the situation without so much as contacting me, you owe me an apology. On top of being a victim of revenge I now have to deal with people lying about my dating life and further dehumanizing me. So I assume what she's talking about here with lying about her dating life is the idea that she's cheated on Lonerbox. And essentially she's, you know, upset about the fact that President Sunday leaked this without her consent, right? Let's keep watching.
Oh.
Keep that in mind. It's an interesting question. Symposium Brain for $20 says Melina recently confirmed that the sex tapes leaked by Destiny's former
Jesus Christ.
girl were shared by Destiny without her
Nice,
consent.
good one, nice.
If she has no legal recourse.
I got a whole bunch of super chats for you. Wake, ready?
Okay.
Run that clip back just to put emphasis on that one.
Keep that in mind. It's an interesting question. Symposium Brain for $20 says Melina recently confirmed that the sex tapes leaked by Destiny's former
Jesus Christ.
girl were shared by Destiny without her
Nice,
consent.
good one, nice.
If she has no legal recourse.
I got a whole bunch of super chats for you. Wake, ready?
Okay.
Did you not Wick is a stinky butt? I think that's a #1 super chat.
At this point, Straight Raid accuses Kyla of being snaky about this to President Sunday.
What are the super chats? 2025 is going to be amazing. I mean, I get this is entertaining, but this is like very fucked up. This is a very, very fucked up situation, to be honest with you. Like, this is not like, you shouldn't be glad this happened. Maybe you can be glad that it came out. But you shouldn't be glad that Destiny did this. He victimized a girl. It's fucking horrible.
Sunday, explaining that Pixie and Kyla have been in contact, with Not So Erudite acting as a kind of liaison.
So we'll go over it tomorrow. Nice. Kyla, Erudite, being snaky about this. Pixie contacted her and was kind of trying to use her as a liaison. I told her Kyla can't be trusted to help with that. Dan contacted Pixie a couple weeks ago as well. According to what she told me, he basically said ask Steven for a reasonable amount of money and he'd probably pay it, and wanted her to convince him to not take legal actions against KF, which he's considering. I assume she meant what she's considering, being Pixie, because I don't think Dan had any intention of taking legal action against Kiwi Farms. President Sunday says you up for a call later tonight. She says, Lycan and I are driving back from Texas, won't be home until late tomorrow. What about the night after? Pixie wants to go public before the end of January, and I don't know what to tell her because there's pros and cons both ways. President Sunday says, let's talk tomorrow. I'm going to talk with someone I trust. She says, sounds good. President Sunday says, this is blackmail. Tell her under no circumstance to do this. Dan is a fucking moron, or he's trying to sabotage her. Once again, no idea what Dan said. No proof of that.
It's also revealed that Dan reached out to Pixie as well. And from what Straight Raid had heard, Dan encouraged Pixie to ask
Vagabond says, it's messed up how I see people praise President Sunday, even though he did this without the victim's full consent, and even seems to blame the victims for wanting money. President Sunday does seem retarded in the situation. I guess if you want to make the argument that it's a good thing that it's public, you can make that argument, but President Sunday went against the victim's consent, which is the whole point behind people not covering this in the first place, that she didn't want it covered. Now it's out, so, you know, here we are. Here we are. It doesn't matter anymore. What do you think ABBA's going to say? I have no idea. One thing that would be very cringe is for people to go around harassing people unrelated to the allegations, begging them for a response, when I highly doubt that ABBA had any knowledge of this. And there's, once again, ABBA was not involved in this in any way. So begging at people's pant legs to talk about this is going to be a very annoying thing that's going to start happening. But yeah. Has he made a statement on the newest stuff? Destiny said that he'll be making a statement today within a matter of hours.
Destiny for a reasonable amount of money, as well as trying to get Pixie to persuade Steven not to sue.
Astronaut Skeleton says she was talking about Bad Empanada. Sunday did not talk about her relationship status. It was Bad Empanada's video. Oh, okay. Sunday was in contact, as we can see, with Straighter Aid. Okay, that's a good distinction, Astronaut. So she was criticizing not President Sunday, but criticizing Bad Empanada, because Bad Empanada claimed that the reason that Lonerbox was distancing himself was because Pixie had cheated on Lonerbox. That Pixie had cheated on Lonerbox with Destiny. In reality, what seems to have been the case is Lonerbox maybe distanced himself for a variety of reasons, but I assume this is the biggest one, that this had happened, and he would have had to know at some point. Nick Diorio says not true. Okay, lots of conflicting reports, but yeah. Dan messaged me and said, I just posted this in chat, by the way. I spoke to Pixie once a few weeks ago because I heard she was in a bad spot, and I genuinely felt bad for her because she didn't do anything to deserve any of this. She asked for a bunch of advice on legal avenues, and I gave her my thoughts. That's it. I have no idea why other people have inferred things out of that, like I'm trying to make people silent or anything to that effect. I'm on good terms with Pixie, and I think she was genuinely fucked over by the leak. So there you have a statement from Dan.
Kiwi Farms. Straight Raid would then provide Sunday with the DMs between Not So Erudite and Pixie, and notes Pixie's original desire for a payout somewhere in the region of $1 million. So let me take you through the conversation between Not So Erudite and Pixie. Pixie, in blue, begins by reaching out to NSE asking whether she's had a chance to talk to Steven yet. NSE responds by asking if there's anything Pixie hopes was brought up. Pixie then explains that, depending on how that conversation goes, depends on what her next course of action will be, particularly based on whether Destiny feels like he needs to make up or repent for his actions. Timeline-wise, Pixie had already spoken to Destiny.
We got a bunch of DMs here, hold on.
Make up or repent for his actions. Timeline-wise.
Hi, Steven. She sends a message. Destiny says, hold up there, what's up?
Pixie had already spoken to Destiny in what was
She sends another message. He says, I feel like it's hard for me to give you advice. I'm obviously implicated in everything, but I would still say some of the following things. 1, things die out surprisingly fast. There might have been a couple of random losers online. Wasn't ABBA railing Melina? No. They did a little dance. Sorry about the burping. My bad, chat. I'm a bit gassy. Today. Okay, you have to forgive me. Things die out surprisingly fast. There might always be a couple of random losers online. People move on to the next thing. What a weird thing to say. Dude, it's like fucking not everybody is as comfortable or cool with their news being leaked online forever. Okay? And outside of some losers on Kiwi farms and some irrelevant content people who will fade away in a year or two, inevitably stuff fades away. There are people who were big online a few years ago that can barely even find traces of anymore. Stefan Molyneux was a good example. 2, you still have every legal option available to you. You can always pursue stuff, and there are special civil and criminal protections that even shield your name from being released. You can always do free consultations with litigation firms to check with stuff like that. For obvious reasons, you should take things I'm saying with a grain of salt and pursue and check all those things out on your own. 3, you've accomplished and done a ton of things in the past couple of years. When I met you a few years ago, you were yo-yoing like crazy between ultra-suicidal ideation thoughts and being hung up on a weird guy and feeling aimless after getting your college degrees. But you've done a ton of work this year with Progressive Victory, moved to and survived in Miami all on your own, branched out into new content areas, and made new friends across new communities. It would be super shitty to not follow through for a couple more years at least and see where you could continue to push things. Oh, well, your news may have been leaked for the entire internet to see, but you can just move on. You can just move on, dude.
Was essentially a brief exchange of...
This feels super lame, and I don't want to at all imply that somehow just giving you money helps anything go away or fixes anything for you. But do you have any bills or owe money on anything or have any financial stuff I can help with? I can at the very least chip in and help you out with any of that. So it's at least one less thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying about getting through this. I can pay for your groceries, dude. I can pay for your groceries. I'll help you out, man. I'll pay for your groceries.
Of DMs. Pixie would also assure Not So Erudite that she was not a danger to herself at this time. Though a constant theme in Pixie's communications is this potential underlying risk that she may do damage to herself. Not So Erudite asks whether she can share this with Destiny, to which Pixie agrees, citing the fact she doesn't feel like he really understands.
Is that hush money? The hush money conversation would have been around him paying her some kind of amount of money, which is President Sunday accused her of extorting Destiny. But you could basically imply that, or infer that, yes, it could have been potential hush money from him being like, oh, well, I'll help you out with groceries or something just to, take the burden off you to kind of try to make it seem like he's a better guy.
Stands her perspective, and it may be better coming from Not So Erudite. Not So Erudite pushes a little harder to work out exactly what it is that Pixie wants. She lists what she thinks are her goals. Help removing the video from online, getting the guy who hacked charged, a sense that Steven understands how in the wrong he was, and plans to prevent this from ever happening in the future. Here, Pixie clarifies. What she wants is for this to be the most expensive mistake of his life. She doesn't list a dollar amount, nor does she want to make him destitute, but it should not be easily recoverable. NSE responds,
I mean, I just don't see how you have a career after this. Like, I guess, Pixie's wish is for him to not be destitute. Fair enough, but like unconsensually sharing someone's nudes, sending it around, like I don't like what. Why does he deserve a career after this? I don't get it.
My understanding was it was more a sense of rehabilitation and justice. But you have a specific thing you want now, which is for him to lose a certain amount of money. Pixie responds that she feels that unless he faces actual repercussions, he will never change. Also noting that this money can be given to charity. Not So Erudite, seemingly unsure what to do with the conversation at this point, says she'll have to talk to Steven, as this request for money isn't what she was expecting. With Pixie then responding that what she's looking for is a general acceptance from Steven.
Tom, you're kidding, right? You don't seriously see the leaking of a single sex tape consensually is worth being depersoned? Seriously? Sorry, let me reread this. You're kidding, right? You don't seriously see the leaking of a single sex tape consensually worth being depersoned? But the point is that it's unconsensual. That's the point. You fucking dumbass.
Steven, that he understands this as a potential course of action to rectify the situation, as she views this as a potential penance, which is essential, in her view, to the rehabilitation process. She goes on to explain that if Steven agrees, then great, that's an agreed course of action. But if not, then she will have to go through the court system to, as she puts it, figure this out. She goes on to note that Destiny has already alluded in DMs with her previously to financial compensation, though her concern is that he doesn't really understand the level of proportionality she is expecting from him. Kyla would then respond to tidy up the language, as in her view, it's not about punishment, it's about making sure—
This isn't high schoolers leaking shit, this is a man with hundreds of thousands of followers leaking it to Gunner accounts. Yeah, and also a 35-year-old man.
That he is genuinely remorseful and changing his behavior. As she goes on to further clarify Pixie's position, with Pixie agreeing to the general gist. They go back and forth, with Kyla clarifying that you're not making me sad, other than like, I'm obviously sad, my friend is hurting. and was hurt by our other friend. Pixie makes a final clarification that Destiny needs to understand the severity of the situation, and that paying some bills, which is a reference to her previous conversation with Destiny, isn't enough. With a final clarifier from Kyla that, I think he was worried you would feel he's paying you for your silence, but did want to help but didn't want to overstep. I think he is offering a lot more than you read it, but I totally understand why you read it that way. Back in the conversation between Streamline and Sunday, Streamline notes that Pixie was discouraged by the lawyer she was talking to from pursuing this against.
And she's discouraged from pursuing a legal route after speaking with a lawyer who specializes in cybercrimes and revenge porn, after they told her that the hacker is at more fault legally than Steven, which is why she wants to go public about it. She feels like it's not going to be any legal justice, and she doesn't want him to get away with it. Also, Steven wasn't aware that Dan was contacting Pixie from what she could tell. Additional context, Pixie was saying that if her parents found out, she would kill herself. Tell her to keep cool, she's going to be all right. Assume everyone knows everything. I did. She's calmed down since then and hasn't repeated anything related to suicide since. What do you think of Kyla's messages to her? I know Pixie's delusional to think she could get that sort of money, but I guess I thought Kyla's tone was off when addressing monetary compensation. She made it sound like Pixie was wrong to even expect money. Is it so over for us, Tom? Why is it over for you? You didn't do anything.
Steven. And this had moved Pixie to wanting to go public as she didn't feel confident in any form of legal justice. Sunday goes on to reinforce that Pixie does likely have a legal route open to her, and provides further.
Pixie wanted that. She's basically trying to use Kyla as a liaison. Dumb. Pixie's really dumb. You and I have to assume that if we deal with her straightly, she'll make a very stupid decision. Probably, but even if convince her not to go the route she's currently planning, I consider that a win. Right now, she's taking a twit longer and go fund me for legal fees, which did end up happening. While I do think some people hate Steven enough to open their wallet and donate to what could be a legal headache, I don't think it's a good idea because of how Pixie is. No one can lose sympathy faster than her, and Keffels poison people's ability to fundraise for stuff like that. Is Pixie in Florida? Send this to Pixie. Evidence must be presented to a judge, sometimes a jury, that the defendant shared an intimate image of you without your consent, and the defendant knew that you did not consent or recklessly disregarded whether or not you consented. You can prove lack of consent with your own testimony or any other evidence you have. Note that even if you made or shared your own intimate image with someone, that does not mean you consented to the image being shared elsewhere.
The information which Straighter is to pass on to Pixie for her to consider. Sunday would then go on to ask whether there have been further conversations between Pixie and Kyla that he's not aware of, or between Pixie and Steven. These DMs, to put it simply, are Pixie confronting Steven and saying that she was going to write a note, making it clear what happened and what her feelings were, while emphasizing Steven's contribution.
When he says write a note, what she means by that is a parting ways with this world note.
To her current state of mind. Destiny then goes on to reassure her that she has a lot of life ahead of her, and that these leaks would pass given time. Finally, Destiny makes an offer that if she requires any help with any bills or anything, then to let him know, so he can provide assistance, and it's one less thing for her to concern herself with. Straighter Aid goes on to share some DMs from Pixie, in which she laments the difficulty a legal case would present, at one point suggesting that in frustration she may get the same lawyer who works for Kiwi Farms. Conversation between Straighter Aid and Sunday once again returns to the general topic of the leaks, for several days until the 8th of January, where Straighter Aid would share a copy of Pixie's statement regarding these leaks, in which she states that the sharing of these images was non-consensual, and to her knowledge, she is the third person this has happened to. The timeline she provides is that this encounter occurred fairly early on in her online career. She also cites how she would pursue him in court, and that this would be a civil.
Wait, when did this statement from Pixie come out? How does this guy have this statement ahead of time? This is 11:44 a.m. Did he say how he got the statement? Hold on.
Of January, where straight.
Oh, okay. Update. She sent me a statement, wants to publish, but it's terrible. I think it's too long, reveals irrelevant personal info that works against her, and has other basic typos and grammatical errors that make it hard to follow. Okay, so essentially, Cope and Seeth got this statement ahead of time, and then Pixie ended up publishing it.
Straighter Aid would share a copy of Pixie's statement regarding these leaks, in which she states that the sharing of these images was non-consensual, and to her knowledge, she is the third person this has happened to. The timeline she provides is that this encounter occurred fairly early on in her online career. She also cites how she would pursue him in court, and that this would be a civil action. As this was clearly prepared for publication, she also notes her GoFundMe, and the fact that such a case would cost money and would need wider public support. She also, at least to some degree, verifies Straighter Aid's earlier comments regarding Dan Salzman, noting, I have been told by a variety of people to not go public, most notably Destiny's anti-Twitch crusader, Dan Salzman. Finally, she leaves off noting,
what was that statement? I've been told out the payout might not be worth the harassment and attention I will receive. In an ideal world, I would do this privately, but I've been told there is no realistic way the court will grant me anonymity. This means my only option is public. I've been told by a variety of people to not go public, most notably Destiny's anti-Twitch crusader, Dan Salzman. I've been told by some people that Steven really does feel sorry, but I'm not inclined to believe them, especially taking into consideration his actions regarding me. Regardless, what Destiny did is unacceptable, and I believe he will do this again unless he faces justice. To reiterate Dan's statement to me on this, he said, I spoke to Pixie once a few weeks ago because I heard she was in a bad spot, and I genuinely felt bad for her because she didn't do anything to deserve any of this. She asked for a bunch of advice on legal avenues, and I gave her my thoughts. That's it. I have no idea why people think other people have inferred things out of that, like I'm trying to make people silent or anything to that effect. I'm on good terms with Pixie and think she was genuinely fucked over by the leaks. And then Dan followed up by saying, I have no idea where that's from. It's not in the statement. I believe that it was from the original statement that she intended to publish, and then she cut that, basically, I think is what the situation is here. Because this is like the original statement being leaked, and then she ended up publishing the real one that she made.
Most notably, Destiny's anti-Twitch crusader, Dan Salzman. Finally, she leaves off noting that Destiny has violated federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent, and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I have received. When pressed on the release schedule of this statement, Straighterade shares a DM between herself and Pixie, where Pixie clarifies that she wants to talk to her lawyer first and send a demand letter, and based on his response to said letter, release it. I originally wanted to do it by next week, but seems unlikely.
Dan, do you want to just come on stream to talk about this stuff? I see you're in the various chats. You want to just hop on, or do you not want to have a call? It's fine if you don't, but if you want to hop on, we can have a chat about it. You can give your statement, defense, whatever. Yeah. I don't know if everything you're sending me in DMs is stuff you want me to leak, but yeah, we can have a chat if you want. He's calling. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so kind of a crazy day, huh?
Yeah. There was like a good meme that was posted, but probably without. Anyways, yes. I don't know. The whole thing is really fucked up situation. I don't understand why where this thing came from. As I said, I talked to Pixie one time. I'm on good terms with her. And, you know, when we talked, she was just like asking for advice. And Destiny would probably be upset because I did like the opposite of sweeping. I was basically, she was asking like, you know, about a bunch of legal shit. And I was to the point where I was like, well, let me see if I can find some attorneys to recommend to you. Well, I wasn't like pushing one thing or the other. You won't find any logs or any crazy shit like that of me doing anything because they don't exist.
Okay. I mean, the only thing she said, as far as I could tell, is that you advised her that going public might be bad for her. Which...
what she was at the time. So the first something to be clear of, like before this happened, right? Because this was all obviously way after the Kiwi Farms thread and everything else. At that point, like people already, like a bunch of people already knew. So like the whole going public thing didn't make sense. I think she was concerned is that she didn't want it to spread, and I thought that was, you know, if that's your ultimate goal, like that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So
that was my impression because I was hearing about this stuff and I was under the impression that she didn't want any of it to be public. So I was like, well, she is the victim, so I'm not going to, right?
Yeah, she didn't. That was the number one concern, is like anything she did would draw attention to it. And I was like, well, I would agree with that. So that's why she was asking about the legal stuff, because that could be potentially completely private. But at no point was I like, don't do this, don't do that. You know, to be clear, I think like the person who's most at fault here is the hacker, but you know, that's not what anyone is specifically talking about right now. But
well, I mean, I think the point to be made though is like the hacker never would have had that in the first place if Destiny hadn't been sending this around, right? Which, to be clear, you do seem to believe that to be the case, right?
Yeah, but I can also put it another way, right? So there's you shouldn't have sent that around. I'm not going to defend that. But in the same part, like, I don't think 100% of the blame, even though that's bad, it's like, as an example, a shitty example, but let's say that me and you are in a relationship and you've sent me your dick pics and we've been sending dick pics back and forth. And then your Discord gets hacked and someone leaks it. Like, how much are you at fault there, right?
Right, but the point, but the point is that Destiny also, which you seem to think is the case, sent it to other people outside of the relationship. It's more like if you and I are in a relationship, and I've seen your cock, and I send it to Nicholas Diorio, and Nicholas Diorio gets hacked. At which point you find out I've been sending pictures of your cock around.
Yeah, exactly. That's not good.
So just to be clear, this is true, right?
What's true?
That he leaked her nudes without her consent.
That's what Pixie says on this type of thing. I don't have any inside information onto that front besides what.
You haven't talked to Steve about this?
I mean, I've talked to him briefly about it, but now it's like I'm a little bit nervous to say too much. Everyone like getting sued, and I certainly don't want to get dragged into all of that fucking nonsense or anything along those lines. But I'll say that Pixie says that she didn't consent to that, and that's not good if that's the case, right? I think we can both agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, at least based on the DMs, I mean, why would he? I guess my question is based on the messages
thing, like,
that
why
he
am I cautious to say anything? Is because I just don't know what could have been the case. Like, I'm not going to say.
That's fair, and I understand that for sure. I guess for me, the reason why it seems to be the case to me is because in his DMs with her, in Kyla's DMs with
Again,
her as well.
I'm not sweeping for Kyla or for Destiny. I only sweep for myself. That's it.
That's fair. Just ignore chat. Ignore chat. I don't think you're sleeping. For me, it seems to be the case because of the direct acknowledgement of wrongdoing, right? And like, for example, Erudite saying, "Oh, well, Steven needs to understand nothing like this will ever happen again," and he feels so sorry for what happened. Like, if there was consent, why would there be acknowledgement of wrongdoing if Pixie had previously consented to the DMs, right? Or to the news being sent around, right? That's kind of my conclusion. And I assume Kyla wouldn't be trying to imply that unless that was the case.
I know this sounds strange. I actually speak with Kyla like almost never at all. Like, it's very rarely. It was for booking stuff, and now I'm finding a new person for doing booking, not because of anything, because of this, but I genuinely don't know about that situation. I talked to Pixie one time because she wanted legal advice. That was it. One time. Okay.
Right.
And at no point of that was I doing anything along the lines of suggesting she didn't do anything or anything else. That's all that I'm really speaking to here on my front. I'm not retarded. I've met you. I'm not going to throw myself under the bus telling someone that they shouldn't do that. Like,
that's fair.
Jesus fucking Christ. That would be insane.
Yeah.
Like, literally nuts to do. So that was it. She asked for legal advice, and I gave it to her, even though it was probably to the detriment of Steve to a certain extent, the things that I was saying. But that's what I did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't seen any evidence of you doing anything fucked up, so there's that.
You won't. You won't, because it doesn't exist. Mainly because, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, and I'm trying to think what else might come up with me specifically. Yeah, like I did the thing about Kiwi Farms. I said it was stupid to sue Kiwi Farms, and I stand by that. I think that's a lose situation across the board.
Yeah, that wouldn't go anywhere. Yeah.
Like the only winner in that situation ever is going to be lawyers and attorneys. So that's why I said that, because it's true. Yeah, that's it. So I don't want to make this a whole fucking thing or anything else along those lines. I don't know. There's a lot of people in this situation right now that are also like I see Lauren De Laguna made the fundraiser. President Sunday fucking hates Steve. Like, I'm just
I mean, to be clear, there are a lot of like weird intentions around this, and even beyond that, anybody who's ever associated with Destiny is about to be accused of sweeping, and that's going to happen. But realistically, I think that stuff will die off as the sort of more important factors come into play regarding the people who are actually involved, which, as far as I can tell right now, seems to be Destiny, seems to be Kyla, and as far as anybody else that did anything wrong, maybe I'm misremembering. I can't see anything yet, but yeah, it seems to be pretty fucking bad, dude. It seems to be pretty fucking bad. Apparently, Steven is making a statement in a few hours. I guess you don't have anything to say about that because you're...
I genuinely don't know what the fuck he's going to say. But I assume it'll be like every other statement he does with vlogs and all sorts of other shit, because that's what Steve does, always. So, yeah. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you.
Awkward fucking spot to be put into. But...
yeah, for me too. But yes, I understand you as his co-host are in a very awkward position.
What do you think about that as a meme? That's too much to post, right? Publicly.
You want me to click on this?
Yeah, you can click on that. You can play that.
Okay, let me see this.
I need a new dust filter for my Hoover Max Extract Pressure Pro Model 60. Can you help me with that? A pickup. How hot? Red hot. I know where that is. I'll be there.
I mean, I think you can post that if you want. No, it is what it is.
You already sent it to me. Like, what's the point?
Well, no, now it's out there in the record of, what it is. It's fine. But yeah, that's it. I don't know. We'll see what happens today. I will stand by. Look, I think there's not enough negative shit also towards the hacker, to be clear, right? So I don't know. That's it. That's the little bit of sweep that I do. Okay, right there. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate you coming on.
Like, if you, just to be clear, if you send my dick pics, sorry,
No,
if
go
you
ahead.
If you send my dick pics to anyone, like everything I'm saying here doesn't matter. Like, just want to, be clear. I'm coming after you if you send my dick pics anywhere.
That's totally fair. That makes sense.
All right.
And I've only sent it to like a few hundred people, so you're good.
No, like you're not even allowed to send it with like your mom, okay? Just because you think your mom's not going to share, because you know what, your mom's going to share it with your dad, and then
My
your
mom
dad's
needs to
gonna share it
know
with your
who I'm.
uncle.
My mom needs to know who I'm with and if he's well endowed or not, especially in the Jewish respect.
Okay.
Because I heard you're not cut, which seems kind of
What?
antithetical.
First off, that is absolutely untrue. My dick is cut so far back, it's nothing but head. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's
All right.
important.
Well, all right. Well, today will be a fun day. I look forward to the shit show.
I guess. Yeah, I guess he's supposed to be responding soon. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, big boy.
Yeah, no problem.
Big
Cheers.
cheese.
Later, Holmes. Yep. Later.
Yep. All right. We got word from the rabbi chat. There you go. All right. We'll keep going through this video from Cope and Seeth now.
On January the 10th, President Sunday would approach Straighter Aid asking if there was any updates on the situation. She responded that she hadn't heard anything else, and she speculates that Pixie at this point may be annoyed with her and just simply ignoring the messages. Though she assures Sunday that had Pixie taken the payoff, she would have been informed. It would then be on the 16th of January where Straighter Aid would once again reach out to Sunday, asking him whether he was aware of Lonabox's stream, in which Lonabox stated his intention to take a break from streaming, but more importantly, alluded to what happened.
It's a little bit frustrating that the psycho smear campaign against me has kind of succeeded, and it's basically all because of Hassan being willing to platform it, which is very annoying that you basically have to like suffer the consequences of someone else's stupidity, but is what it is. Someone else's failures as a human being. But that's not why I'm taking a break. That's just annoying. And it's something that I'll probably be able to work around by myself.
Within this live,
Yeah, he seems kind of evasive, like he doesn't really want to talk about the real stuff here.
Lonabox notes his frustrations with Hassan, but points out that the Israel-Palestine discourse and how he's being treated in regard to that content isn't his reason for leaving. The further allusions come when people bring up Destiny to him in his chat.
You've got Tiny to back you up, both. You make quite the team when you're together. No. What do you mean stop streaming? I'm not going to stop like forever. I just need some. It doesn't matter. I just need a bit of a break. What was the catalyst for that decision? Can't really go into detail. It's been a few things. Have you just not been enjoying streaming? I mean, I like streaming.
Can't go into
There's just a
detail.
lot of things surrounding the whole thing that's making it. It's just making me need to step back for a minute.
I mean, I guess this could be about something else. This could be out of context, but I guess this combined with him retweeting Pixie's thing is making me think that it's probably linked.
And reassess what I want to do going forward. Is it the IP discourse? Nope.
Lonabox's obvious discomfort around the topic of Destiny led to what I can only describe as a cascading series of events where people began to realize that this once contained story was not going to be contained for much longer. And it has not taken long for even people such as Hassan to start reacting to this news.
Okay, so what's interesting is Bad Empanada correct himself, it's not cheating, but that she had denied previously sleeping with him and then was in the leaks. Oh, okay. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. So Bonerbox starts dating a Destiny Orbiter. The Destiny Orbiter tells Bonerbox, I never had sex with Destiny. And then Destiny, in the endless interest of like trying to fuck, e-girls that are in his DMs, sends his entire library of content that he filmed with his ex-wife, which I'm sure his ex-wife is not fully on board with. I would suspect that if you were Destiny's ex-wife, you probably aren't very happy about like.
And Hassan is going to be jumping up and down in the air, absolutely elated to see this happen. Hassan's going to have a good fucking day. He's going to have a good month. He's going to have a good year.
Videos of you guys having sex being distributed to random people, including, many other people. And that person that he sent it to, their friend, I think, leaked all of those videos and made it viral. And one of them was even Destiny, like, sucking a penis. And that's where the whole, like, the Destiny suck off Nick Fuentes drama comes from. But ultimately...
Sucking a penis.
Ultimately, what ended up happening is, I guess that's when Bonerbox found out that his girlfriend had actually lied to him, maybe. I don't know.
Given the nature of the developing situation, President Sunday suggests having a call with Straighter Aid to explain to her that at the very least, Pixie's involvement is now public discourse. And most pressingly, that the conversation between Pixie and Erod...
Hassan is live right now with 50k viewers. It doesn't look like he's talking about this, though, at the moment.
...had leaked to
the
a wide
inauguration.
range of people. Sunday, for his part, had been approached for a conversation by another content creator regarding these leaks, as people were beginning to try and work out how much information everyone else was holding. They begin going back and forth, discussing who the leaker of the leaks may be, though honestly, looking through it, it's sort of an...
Yes, of course. Have you talked to Steven directly throughout any of this? Yes. What was said between you two? He told me about Pixie's fidelity, and I said he should offer her compensation. They talked from there, but Pixie told me the convo broke down.
An elementary question at this point. But we do get one more interesting detail, and that's the fact that Straighterade had been discussing all of this with Destiny throughout this period. In fact, it was Straighterade who suggested to Steven compensation. Sunday asks, but given that your impulse is to try and find a mole, I'm going to assume that what they said is accurate. You suggested Steven pay for Pixie's law school. Straighterade responds, this was one of my few suggestions. I said that she's in a precarious financial situation, that she's not consulted her therapist, and that therapy bills or payments to assist with law school would be money that would be productive to her because it's something to look forward to. She refuses to tell her family, and things were breaking down with Lona, and I felt overwhelmed being one of I don't know how many people she let into a limited support network. What follows in these DMs is essentially Sunday emphasizing the situation to Straighterade. At time of recording, Bad Empanada has come out with a video titled Destiny is a sex criminal, shared porn of multiple people without consent. The spiraling situation is what led to Sunday coming to me. He was aware already that I'd been looking for these DMs, and was aware at the very least of their existence. Because he wanted to provide a fuller context for them, rather than just me releasing them in a tweet, he offered this wider conversation with Straighterade, hoping it could help fill in any blanks, along with any outstanding leaks or information which I may not have. I have attempted to present this information with as little bias as possible. I really just want to provide you with a wider context for what has been happening within the DGG machine. I personally never sought out the Destiny leaks. I have now read more of Destiny's Kiwi Farm page than I ever wanted to. And while, if I'm being frank, I'm not surprised or stunned or shocked by the leaks. I'm not a Destiny fan and never have been. But I've never hated the guy either. Unfortunately for me, this story is one that is basically impossible to ignore. It has been fascinating watching people dance around this topic. And at least for me, this is the part of the story that I wanted to know about. I'm not an accountability channel. I frankly don't care to be.
All right. That was a much better video than the one we saw from President Sunday. I feel like it gave us a much fuller picture and actually read through the messages. So that was good to see. That was very good to see. BWC. Oh, good joke. Dude, you got me. Why didn't Destiny get canceled for that fake rap battle against a sign that was really bad and should have been a sign? Yeah, that should have been the sign, dude. That clearly should have been the sign. Okay. Well, that's pretty fucked. I don't know if there's anything else that we can cover at this moment. If there's something else, you guys can bring attention to it for me. But I don't know that there's anything else that's talking about it right now that is going to go into it. That's going to give us stuff we need. Obviously, there's a call with Nicholas Diorio, but, you know, I'll let Nick handle that call on his own. Yeah. That's pretty chat. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe there's some small chance Destiny can disprove these allegations if he's able to provide proof that, in fact, Pixie did consent to the sharing of these DMs before. Or not the sharing of these nudes before. In which case, the only responsible party that did anything wrong would be the hacker because she would have consented. But in the absence of any proof of that, for now, we just have to kind of wait and see what he says. But this is pretty fucked. This is pretty fucked, dude. Tom, can we get a sharing revenge porn is bad? What do you want me to say? Sharing revenge porn is bad. What do you want me to say? 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 There you go. That's what you wanted? Anything else? Anything else? Damn, pretty bad. Pretty fucking bad, chat. That's pretty fucked. If any other members of Destiny's community want to come on and talk to me about this, you're welcome to. But I think that's everything we have right now, to my knowledge. I guess I got clipped at a non-bird on the Destiny revenge board situation. We'll see how charitably I got clipped. Charitability. Now, I think another perspective to this is also, like, how can Destiny ever judge someone else morally for anything they've ever done with this? Like, if he unconsensually shared nudes. So there's all these random losers in chat who I've never heard of saying they need to come on. You're not coming on. Someone who is of some importance or perhaps has some involvement here, not a random chatter. Funny how Destiny and jar content all starts the moment Shed goes on vacation. He is among the graped yet again. He is. There's someone. Shedding revenge porn is bad. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say, dude? He should have redeemed. This is the second worst thing ever, right behind BWC not being on Spotify. Good one. Chestnuts roasting for an open fire. Yeah. Do you think it's a little messed up to post it on Inauguration Day, kind of stealing the spotlight? Well, in fairness, it doesn't seem like Pixie wanted it to come out on Inauguration Day. That doesn't seem to be the case. Ever morally have any judgment on anyone, on any political figure for any sexual misconduct they have undergone, on any political figure for really anything they've done? Like, how can you be going out of your way to criticize other people when you yourself are. I mean, bring on Queman or Loner Box. Is Queman involved in this stuff? Is Queman involved in this at all? Someone sent me a Russell search thing of Destiny being in his chat today. It looks like he sent a few DMs. Here we have him saying Sweatstany 14/21/06. 2025 David Lynch dies film releases on January 20th, 2025. Destiny's most ambitious manifesto yet. So I guess he's planning on some kind of response at some point. Flying back to Miami, back to sleep. So everything invests into Melania. Find out my life savings, I invest into Trump crashed. Okay, so on the 20th, he said, wake up, find out my life savings, invest into Trump crash, sell everything, invest into Melania, go back to sleep. Flying to Miami. How long does the inauguration last? Am I missing cinema on this flight? Law school arc starting sooner than I expected. I see Pepe. I'm on my way to Mar-a-Lago. So here he's talking about Pixie apparently going to law school. I'll probably make a post on my sub in a bit. Just landed. And that was at 12:20. So that was 15 minutes ago. David Lynch dies. Film released on January 20th. Destiny's most ambitious manifesto yet. Sweatstany. This is all the messages. Thank you, information gathering guy, for this. So that's where we're at right now. That is where we are at right now. Maybe it's all bullshit. Maybe it's all fake. It's not a reference to Pixie going to law school. DGG has memed Destiny going to law school for years. Is that it? Oh. Tom, do you think it's kind of weird that there's screenshots of Pixie trying to blackmail him out of money, not to come forward, and then making a GoFundMe when it didn't work? Yeah, that definitely is a little bit weird, for sure. I just don't know if that means that her intentions were bad the whole time. But yeah, that's basically the situation we're in right now. We're kind of just waiting to see if there's a statement from him. Maybe it's all fake. Chat, maybe it's all somehow fake. Maybe she's full of shit. Maybe she lied. I guess it's possible. But, you know, I guess for now we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. You should talk to Queman. Is Queman on? He did message me asking me if I could talk about him or talk about the leaks with him later this week. Is Queman on right now? I'm probably not going to be around tonight, to be clear. After stream, I got to go to the gym and then get some other videos done. But if he wants to talk now, I'm around. How would it be fake? You can find the video. The only way that it would be fake, Moonlight Rogue, what I mean by fake is she would have to consent beforehand, I guess. But all the DMs between them imply that it wasn't consensual between her and Destiny himself. So maybe unless those DMs are fake somehow, and she did consent to the video being taken and sent around to other people, like, you get what I'm saying? The video exists, make no mistake. What I'm saying is somehow maybe she consented, but it just seems extremely unlikely. Oh, Queman called me. Hello, Queman.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So I haven't watched the videos yet. I kind of don't know exactly what's in them.
Okay. Do you want me to TLDR you or? Well,
I know, I know the rough outline. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like people want to press you for sweeping. I feel that's in the air right now, right?
Sure.
Do you feel like you have swept at any point?
No.
You don't feel like you've swept at any point?
Correct.
Okay. Recently you put out your Mr. Girl video.
That's true.
You did not in any way interrogate any claims in the report.
What do you mean interrogate any claims in the report?
You didn't look through, go, okay, what's trying to be argued here? What's the evidence? Is there anything worthwhile here?
If your criticism is over the Mr. Girl thing, we can.
It's no. It's pure Destiny. Pure Destiny.
Pure Destiny.
Okay. Yep. Because I'm just talking about Destiny's conduct that's in that report. I don't care about Mr. Girl or any of the stuff around that. Just Destiny's conduct in that report.
Right. If there was any sweeping in that, it was unintentional by me. I essentially just came to the conclusion that it seemed like Destiny hadn't abused Anavar. And, Anavar at one point made that statement. Now, I know that there's another interaction people are talking about where apparently he convinced her to make that statement. And then after the fact, she disagreed with that.
Yep.
But
even without that, okay.
Okay.
In that report, there are logs that Mr. Girl put in there where basically Anna is asking, oh, my OCD is really bad. Public perception's really fucking me up and triggering me super bad.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you can do to help fix my public perception? And Destiny's reply, if I can try and remember it verbatim, is maybe at some point. But for now, I'll just keep rubbing your legs and feet while you write your essays.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't think that's kind of a weird exploitation of her mental illness in a super fucked up way that uses community to try and kind of keep her on the...
Yeah, you could make that argument, yeah.
Yeah, okay, you can make that argument. Okay. Many years ago, Destiny... I'm just pressing you about sweeping here, okay? Many years ago, Destiny admitted in some Skype logs that were released that he was texting or messaging a 15-year-old girl who sent him pictures.
That was in one of the... I don't know which video. I think it was in the President Sunday video.
Oh, was it in one of these two?
President Sunday had talked about that in his video, yes.
Okay,
is this the... Wait, sorry, maybe this isn't the...
It was so hard to... He says about a 15-year-old, it was so hard to say no, and says how big her tits were.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what was in the President Sunday video was an interaction with a different girl, I believe, who was of age. That he had said that her face was ugly, but her body was nice.
No, that's Blue Tea. That's Blue Tea.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah, that was a StarCraft person. Yeah. So there was a 15-year-old.
So this is a different thing to 15-year-old.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. A 15-year-old Destiny spoke to, and he sent a picture of her in his Skype group, and is like, "Oh, her tits are huge, dude. It was so hard to say no." Basically implying that she was soliciting, and he was like, "Should I go with this 15-year-old girl? No, I won't." And then he later, when pressed by Metka about this, said something like, "Yeah, some of these teeny boppers are really fucking hot. What are you gonna do?"
Right.
I feel like generally, for you, if almost anyone else had done that, that would be in your video about that person.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, I agree.
That wasn't in your Destiny video.
That's fair. That probably should have been in there.
Okay. Did you just not see this at the time, or?
I think I vaguely remember what you're talking about because he had some conversation with, I want to say it was Worski and Medicare a long time ago.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It might have been on the Ralph retort or something. I think I do know what you're talking about, but yeah, I guess that just didn't cross my mind when I made that video. But I guess the problem with Destiny is there's so much shit. But yeah, that probably could have been in. And to be clear, if I had asked him about that, I think he probably would have answered about it as he had on those streams. But yeah.
When you made, I can't quite remember how you presented the divorce stuff in your Destiny video. Do you feel like the divorce?
Oh, the divorce. Okay.
And like his relationship with Melina. I feel like your whole video was sort of presenting him as a super good guy. This wasn't too long after the divorce happened. And it felt like already, if you just sort of like looked past the surface a little bit, you could see, oh, this wasn't just some crazy Swedish bitch that fucked him over. There were a lot of things going on with the Lauren Southern affair and the Bob 7 drama, where it had already come out that Destiny had sent images without consent. It felt like there were quite a lot of things that probably would have changed the perception, changed the coloring of that video had you included them, but you seem to choose not to.
And yeah, I think that's fair. To be clear, I didn't know about him unconsensually sending news to anyone before what's going on now. Now, I do see that there's proof that did apparently happen in the past with him threatening that in retaliation to Anna. And that was in the President Sunday video, I believe, but I didn't know that.
Okay. Well, so you don't feel like you've swept. You don't feel like maybe even inadvertently, maybe because you're friends with the guy and you gave him a bit more, charity. Maybe you just looked over some things or didn't quite see them, didn't look in as closely as you could.
No, I think that's probably a fair criticism. Yeah, for sure. This thing seems unignorable, but definitely with stuff from the past that's like, 7-8 years ago, stuff like that. I definitely was not as hypercritical in looking into that stuff. And you're right. Probably I should have done that and asked him about it in the video.
Do you think that was more because you had a positive impression of him and you wanted to think the best? Do you think it's because the community is a bit, intimidating to go against the grain of? Or like what? As far as
the community being intimidating, that's not really a thing I'm super concerned with. What I would be concerned with is if I somehow made a false allegation or something towards him. But if I had a thing that I wanted to talk about and I asked him about it, I wouldn't be concerned about the idea of me asking him about it. Now, as far as me hiding it for the sake of making him charitable or something like that, that's just totally untrue. But I will definitely say that with certain things like the Melina thing, right? I didn't look too deep into the Melina thing beyond the surface, partly because I did assume she was just a crazy Swedish bitch, and that is correct. And now that we have the claim from her about this, now it is making me question the relationship more. But yes, to answer your question, that's my basic thoughts on that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, fair enough. Just while I'm here as well, in your low tier God video, this is a random complaint. In your low tier God video, you contradicted yourself. You said in the start that you couldn't find his reality TV show, and then later on in the video, you show the reality TV show and talk about the reality TV show. Just a minor issue, but I just had that one in my mind. That was bugging me a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so when I talked about the reality TV show, he said he was like a TV actor that had been in a ton of reality TV shows. I didn't register those as being the same thing, basically.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Yeah. Well, cool. Good talking to you, bro.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Anything else? Anything else?
No, you're skinwalking, buddy. Okay, catch you later.
All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bitch, I'm Tom Dark, but my dick is quite light. And this girl that's on my dick, she is not quite white. She's black. You can twist it up and play with it. Whoa. Make a motherfucking movie, Michael Bay with it. Whoa. Gotta promise you not dealing with a baby dick. No. There's a big white cop in your radius.